Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the International 2018. I've got joining me is Kevin, aka Purge. Ready for day 2?
Yes, very ready. So many games happened yesterday. It's hard to keep track of everything, but this is a pretty big series for both of these teams. Let's be real, every series is a big deal. But for Vici Gaming here, they're not on the board yet. They went 0-4 in the first day, and Newbee is sitting at 3-1, so they're pretty happy. So both teams got to take as many wins as possible, and Vici Gaming not off to a great start.
Yeah, you want some wins. Newbee actually had a great day 1, though. I was surprised to see them. I think they ended 3-1.
Yes,
they had some really nice games, looked pretty good, and definitely were, for some people, surprised their team was being a bit shaky throughout the year. Had some ups, had some downs, had a couple good tournaments and a couple where it's like, oh, this isn't the same Newbee that got second place last TI.
Yeah, it's not too uncommon for them, though. They really have always been like that as a team. I think they flashed out really fast in Boston Major. They did really poor in TI6. I think they got knocked out like first round or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they're on a pretty good trajectory right now. They definitely feel like a top 8 team for sure. And they're 3-1. Seems like that so far. It's still pretty limited matches,
Yep.
but cool to see the metagame develop though. First round bans, maybe it's very different for every team, but Silencer not too weird, Pug not too weird. Maybe a Weaver is a bit of a newer one for a first phase ban.
These are definitely some of the kind of strong laning meta picks that I thought would be coming out, whether it was a ban or maybe more as like a first, second, third pick. But obviously, different teams will rate them differently. I think particularly within China, you're going to see when these teams are versing each other, or any teams from the same region versus each other, the bans will look a little bit different because they're teams that just know each other on a whole nother level, probably scrim more, just play each other more often in qualifiers. So you have that extra level of familiarity.
So IO's kind of been the. I hear that we've seen a decent amount so far at TI this year. He kind of got kind of ignored the first couple series we watched, but on other streams kept popping up with like Gyrocopter and stuff like that. Seems pretty effective to ban him out.
Yeah.
And Wraith King as well, finally hitting the bans.
This is, I think, the first Wraith King ban that I've seen, at least. Maybe some other games had some, but it's been getting first, second picked almost every game.
It looks very weird there. This is like the only time in history we've had first phase Wraith King bans, I think, ever.
Yes.
It's a late game ban sometimes if it's like, oh, they have a Doom or something. You want to counter that with Wraith King, don't let them have it. But first phase just feels real bizarre.
Wraith Kings, in like that small group of heroes, have just never been good in Dota, competitive Dota. I think I saw one of the stats guys tweet out, like, before this tournament, Wraith King had some very low pick rate, at least in big lands or TIs or whatever, and some very low win rate to go with it. There's never been a period where it was the Wraith King meta.
Yeah.
Whereas, you can feel like almost 90% of heroes in Dota, you can be like, yeah, they had this small, like, 6-month window where they were really good.
Yeah. Some here's less. Shadow Demon as an opening, though, is still pretty abnormal. I did see it played a little bit yesterday, and it can be really effective in certain situations, but as an opening, a little surprised. But it is kind of a Fenrir-typical hero, so...
Yep. It also completely shuts down the idea of Necro being picked up. You cannot really play Necro against Shadow Demon. Don't get Ghost Shroud with the constant purge coming out from Shadow Demon's ult now. It seems a much stronger counter to a lot of heroes.
I didn't even think about that double counter. I was just thinking you were talking about Reaper Scythe disruptions. Those feel real good.
Yeah. It's like the new counter is the ultimate, constantly applying the purge, and that counters heroes that like to defensively Yules and stuff. Obviously defensive Ghost Shrouds. And then, the disruption saves.
Yeah, makes sense. Dark Will as a response is not that unusual. Gives you a good way to set up against the disrupting allies, perhaps.
Yes.
They go for Click. So probably number 2 carry of the tournament so far, other than Wraith King.
And that's why the Shadow Demon is nice. This is something Newbee did yesterday in one of their games, was pick these 2 heroes together, because you pick the counter, and then you pick the hero, well, that, it counters, but they're both on the same team.
And it's more than fine to pick Shadow Demon as a generic support. Sometimes you'll have issues with like setting up ganks. Sometimes like he's not as good offensively as a lot of other carries or a lot of other supports, but absolutely can work fine here. Disrupt Clinks if he's killing you or a friend.
5 seconds
I think it can work.
Yeah, Clink's seeing a lot more of him already this tournament as well. Definitely to decent success as well.
Depending on the items, for sure.
Yes, we've seen all kinds of items. Yeah, the ace items in one of their games, a bit too defensive, perhaps.
Yeah. Definitely like the raw damage stuff, just like the Deso or Fast Monkey King Bar seems effective, but multiple damage items is definitely a way to pick Links. Like his skills are just entirely designed about him right-clicking, right? So get that in a BKB and you should be fairly set in the right circumstances.
And you mentioned his skills for right-clicking. I think that's important against Shadow Demon because it means any Clinks illusions you make aren't actually very scary.
That's
Whereas
true.
if you don't want to pick like a Luna or a TB or a PL into Shadow Demon, you can. It's just obviously helps the Shadow Demon be that much stronger.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Vici Gaming's
Another aspect
turn
about
to
SC I really like is Soul Catcher. It's dispellable now, so it's not quite as threatening as it used to be, but against the right tanky heroes, Shadow Demon can really make your team a lot better. And even with Necro, it's kind of really good too. Soul Catcher plus Reaper's Scythe is an even better chance to get a kill, especially when you have a Veil on top of that. So it's a really cool opening for Vici. Hopefully it gives them their first win in the tournament.
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see where these two teams go. I think we both kind of seem to prefer Vici's opening
5
two picks,
seconds
but
remaining.
obviously you're
They're
gonna have
cool.
to flesh
They're
it out a
new.
bit more.
They're interesting. I want to see new stuff. Is that so wrong?
Oh, absolutely. And there's good synergy. Whereas Klink's Dark Willow is just like, well, Dark Willow's a good hero, Klink's a good hero, but they're not like anything crazy going on as far as how they're gonna pair up together.
I mean, they're basically the same hero when they're both level 25, right? Dark Willow gets 250 attack talent, and
Sure.
yeah, what's the difference? Not much. Magic damage, maybe. Clockwork banned in the second phase. CM banned as well. I put CM on my most picked, I think. Doesn't look like that one's going to work out.
I think
so.
she's second most picked. Someone was
Is she?
saying. Well, at least
Thank
at one
God.
point. At one point during the day, it was Wraith King 1, CM 2.
Nice. Get them Wraith King bans out, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get it through here. I mean, she did get a moderate nerf with the mana cost increase for Crystal Nova, but still a good ability. And the mana giving to your team thing is definitely nice.
Yep.
Enigma ban as well. Pretty strong team fight hero. Some teams have been playing around with it. I think Newbee did draft that once before.
10
I know Payne's
seconds
grabbed it. I
remaining.
think Fnatic grabbed it once as well. Definitely seems like a comfort
5
hero
seconds
for
remaining.
some teams. Guess that's one way to shut down Clinks as well. Just constantly deny range creeps and
Newbee's turn
trade hits
to
with
pick.
Clinks and the Rainbows. Although I guess he could still dodge things with Strafe, but I would say it's probably hard to win team fights as Clinks against an Enigma though, because at some point, yes, you're gonna have BKB on Clinks, but he's just gonna black hole you.
Well, it
and-
was Vici who banned the Clinks.
Or the
Banned the
Enigma.
Enigma. So it would have been
Oh.
Clinks with Enigma, actually.
Yeah,
In
okay.
this
Yeah,
scenario.
you're right.
I think it's more maybe a targeted ban at KP, because he
10
does play
seconds
a
remaining.
decent amount of Enigma. He plays a lot more of those greedy farming off laners.
5 seconds remaining.
But I would say it's also a hero that's works out pretty well against Necrophos. A lot of magic damage.
Yeah.
Midnight Pulse, Necrophos just kind of sits there a lot of the time, so...
Maybe it's also one of those lanes where Necro can't just dumpster the lane. Like, he doesn't dumpster a lot of lanes, but he kind of does well or wins many matchups that are maybe slightly hard. And maybe Enigma because he's faster. The Eidolon, like Necro's animation, is bad. Necro wouldn't be able to kill the Eidolons as much because you have to get in melee range to even use his nukes. So it's maybe one of those matchups where like he would just outfarm you 1v1 and then
Gaming's turn
they'd
to
win their other lanes,
pick.
perhaps. Could see that.
Bane picked up for Newbee. Going to be their 5 position with Willow in the 4 role, I can only imagine.
Yeah, have you seen much Bane yet? I feel like not. Like when I was watching prep videos, AK videos from 2 months ago, I saw a lot of Bane. But he's got a few nerfs since then. I feel like I haven't seen him much.
Newbee's
I have
turn
not
to
seen him
pick.
much of late. Shaman I've seen one game of, and this hero doesn't feel great just because of, like, he's got this amazing base damage, but this 2-1-2 meta just, it feels like he kind of struggles a bit in.
What about this really cool new Aethershock, though? That makes him better, right?
The style points, yeah.
At least 5%, still green and snaky and stuff.
People get confused about what's going on.
Exactly. That's
It-
valuable.
It will be a 4
10
position.
seconds
I like this
remaining.
more than the hard 5. I think this hero just functions well in
5
like the
seconds
off lane
remaining.
with somebody who can kind of protect him or be tanky. Or like maybe Necrophos could be pretty good with that. It just seems a safer place to send Shaman where he's not going to get bullied. He's the one doing the bullying.
And if you look at the two supports on Newbie side, they're both actually medium range heroes. So even though Shadow Shaman's range is actually a bit shorter, it's not as
Yes.
big of a detriment this game as it normally would be. Maybe that's what they're thinking. It's a decent way to offset Bane.
Yep.
It gives them some of the tower pushing that Necrophos won't be able to do. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll still grab an Agi hero because they have a Shadow Demon and get some tower push that way. But it's definitely nice to have sometimes that alternative tower push with the support.
Bloodseeker hero, Newbie started busting out last DI all of a sudden. In the grand finals, it made some appearances. They had some moderate success with it at times. And
They got 0-3'd, man.
yeah, not in that series, but before
Okay.
before the finals, I think they won a game or two with it.
Okay.
I just remember, but they did get 0-3. And I remember them
5
picking up, and I was like, "Well,
seconds
Newbie busting out Bloodseeker. Like, what are they got? What do they got in mind here?" And they got 0-3. But I mean, the Blood Right should be pretty good against Necrophos. The long duration silence. Necro's not really a hero that builds those dispel items for himself. Could go BKB, could get a Greaves, but they're not common items for Necro.
I think something like a Yule's is maybe not. Maybe it does need some magic resistance. I mean, the typical Necro build is to go double hat. They'll go like they'll get a hood and they'll get a veil, and that usually covers them
Yes.
against most damage types. It's armor, it's magic
like-
resistance, but
Hood Veil, Blink, and Ag Scepters come out.
I feel like against like a Rupture, Bloodright, some Dark Willow stuff, I feel like something like a Yule's might be needed
Yeah.
to protect yourself. But then if you get gripped, it's also a bad time. But
If you
can
get
always
gripped,
disrupt them, I guess.
there's not really. I mean, the Lincolns is a kind of grip, but there's ways to break it always. So
And I guess disruption also kind of covers you against a lot of these things as well. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that provides enough
Well-
solution. But
and that's like a nice thing about the Shadow Demon Necro opening is not just Shadow Demon, being the counter to Necro, but it's also that defensive save can actually be really empowering for Necro, because if he finds himself in that rough spot where he just needs like another 3 or 4 seconds to get his Ghost Shot off, disruption can buy him some time.
Mirana.
Okay, Shadow Demon Mirana, good classic combo. Nice little duo here.
it gives them some ganking options outside of like a Blink Shadow Shaman.
Yep.
I think it's a good opening. It's a range tier, obviously, so even if he gets ruptured, he can still team fight pretty easily. Land arrows to interrupt Bane. They can do Starstorm combos after disruptions as well.
Yep.
Just and even Shadow Shaman, like both supports pair really well with Mirana here.
We'll see what the last couple picks are going to be. Vici Gaming have cores that can really go any lane with Necro Mirana, but we'll see what they maybe have in mind here.
10 seconds remaining. Vici Gaming's turn to
Seems
pick
like Newbee's thinking they're going for a safe lane with the Void Ban, and that is correct. They get PL instead. PL pretty hard to deal with as Bloodseeker. You can always kind of dodge your Bloodright with a Doppelganger. Can be hard to find for a Rupture. Same issues for Clinks. You're single target. He's got lots of illusions. You don't clear illusions, and you got to imagine Newbee's last pick needs to kind of address that illusion
10
problem.
seconds remaining.
Yeah. And just melee heroes against Clinks as well are really effective.
5
It's hard to deal with them
remaining.
otherwise.
He's a gap closer as well with the Phantom Rush.
That's true.
Can't really use that range advantage at all. Pingo. So
Now select your
decent in
heroes.
terms of giving you good team fight. Has some ways to clear illusions with his AoE spells. Can also go for like a casual Maelstrom, something you'll often see. And KP's Pingo, I've seen a few times.
I don't even know if people get Maelstrom anymore. I've seen like I think last time I saw KP play, he got like a Javelin, but he didn't want to go all
Yeah.
the way. It seems like they definitely focus on mostly defensive items, which I don't think is a bad idea.
Yeah, and particularly getting that blink as fast as possible. More, I think, a game with against PL where you have no AoE on your teammates, you may consider the Maelstrom, whereas I wouldn't consider it a typical Pango build.
Yeah, perhaps it is the way to go. I think it's a Radiance Bloodseeker game is kind of what it feels like to me.
Oh, that sounds a whole lot better.
Like you can still get a Maelstrom probably. I don't know.
10
It seems
seconds
like whenever
remaining.
Clinkses are up against PLs, they always grab Maelstroms at least. So maybe do
Sure.
like a Maelstrom Clinks and then go
5
back to regular
seconds
items, or
remaining.
maybe even Mjolnir. Is it a terrible Mjolnir game? I mean, there's gonna be illusions from they need a lot of AoE against SDPL. Like
Yeah.
they will definitely need a lot of wave clears. So that PL pick was definitely very nice, I think.
Let's go Paparazzi. Give me some fantasy points.
That was a dangerous pick. I told you, man. I told you it
You
wasn't
said
a
it
great
was.
pick.
I had him out, and then I was like, no. Vici Gaming, they're gonna go great today. You gotta.
He was literally the worst scoring core player for fantasy yesterday.
They went 0-4. They're not going
Exactly.
0-4 today. They're going.
Are they playing 3 games today?
They're playing 3 games. Yeah.
I think they
I
had
hope.
a lot of difficult teams, if I'm not mistaken, to play against, but I can't remember.
I imagine a lot of matchups probably look difficult when you have a 0-4 day one.
Yes.
Is there-
that's probably
what's the
true.
easy
It
matchup?
definitely hurts my confidence a
No,
little bit
no.
on them, but
Yeah.
I can't quite remember. We'll see. We'll see if they
When
do okay.
I put in a few Newbee players too, so hopefully Newbee. I mean, I don't care who wins then, as long as Paparazzi does well and I think SCCC.
I got faith in SCCC. Give me
Yep.
them points, and the rest I think I went 3 pain actually today.
I have a Fenrir. He's going to plant some wards.
Okay.
Happy man. And we're good to
Good
go.
work.
I like Fenrir, his in-game name, position 405. Like, he's adopting. He's like, all right, any pubs, these guys, I need to communicate with them. Let them
Yeah.
know. I'm playing support.
No messing around there.
Yeah. No, but this should be an interesting way to open things up. An old China affair.
Prepare
Newbee,
for
your
battle.
TI runner-ups. Vici Gaming, well, they've been runner-up themselves a lot of times during this DPC. I believe 4 times in total. I've had a pretty up-and-down season, but mostly an up season as they were one of the few teams to get into the TI through points.
Which doesn't always make me feel confident. Like there's a couple teams like that have kind of been like VGJ Thunder, VGJ. It's like okay, they qualified, but they haven't played tournaments much for the last 2 months. Is that really going to make them strong enough when the tournament rolls around? And either way, still the bad teams or whatever. None of them
Disruption down
seem-
bottom in an arrow.
None of them seem really bad, basically. Like, everybody's still playing really well. These illusions actually look like real heroes with this cosmetic. There's got to be like a bug, right?
I mean, that's KP. That's his cosmetics, right?
Yeah, exactly. They haven't. It's like they haven't updated that set to be dark enough from disruption illusions. Or something.
Well, not quite the start KP was hoping for with his lane.
And Lanham got first blood.
Who's the Lanham fantasy players? We happy about that one?
He got the snake, man. Snaked him. 4 points, yeah. Fantasy or first bloods is. It's not a lot average per game, but if you get little outliers, it can be really beneficial. Snake again. This is actually so much damage. Is Bane good at trading? I can't tell. Just getting wrecked right now.
Who's getting the rune? And it will be Newbee. They bring back the Willow, and looks like they should be able to get the one further down south as well. Paparazzi did go for the Spirit Lance level 1 for that first blood. And it'll be 3 runes to 1 in Newbee's favor, despite giving up that first blood.
So Shadow Demon will hang on the top lane with Imrana. No surprise there, up against a Bane and a Bloodseeker. So this is actually kind of scary. Normally you want something like a Jug in this lane. That way it just completely shuts down what Shadow Demon can do. But the fact that they have this dual lane is going to make this a lot harder for them.
So a bit of a sentry battle in the mid lane. SCCC knew there was a ward or sentry there, put a sentry down to tango it, and then Ori actually ate his sentry before he could do anything. Meanwhile, the Radiant Sentry actually missed the Observer Ward, though.
Yeah, that's part of the benefit of putting it so far to the left is that even like your cast range on using a tango is actually not that far, I don't think. Ward range is 450, so if he puts it all the way at the side over there here, it's easier for him to get that.
He's been arrowed, it looks like. Gets a brain sap off. Is pretty low, but won't go down.
But he's almost out of regen now. I mean, level 1 brain sap doesn't give you the health power that it used to, and 1 tango left, so he's having a tough time so far.
See if he's able to ferry out some more, or what's going to go on Radiant Courier.
Everything. So that was one of those like mid lane ones. Looks like it just got one shot by Searing Arrows probably, because it died about here.
I didn't know you could one shot a Courier with level 1 Searing Arrows, but
I mean it's 30 physical damage, right? And a Courier's got like 75 HP with 0 armor. It's
probably
easy.
Just enough. Yeah, you're right. No,
so you'd be doing 80 physical, yeah, on average.
Okay.
So big mistake by Ori there. Definitely not good for the supports in this, but he's probably like, oh, at least I got my items, no problem, guys.
Yep. We'll see versus Ori. He's going to go for the straight from the mid lane. Ori forced to Ghost Shroud and run away. SCCC thought he maybe had a kill with that strafe.
That's the hard counter, man.
Do you dodge Death Pulse with strafe?
I would guess no, because it's not disjointable. Because we were having a talk about that this morning, that Arcane Bolt from Skywrath can't be dodged, maybe because it's not disjointable. But there's some other ones that can be dodged with it, but I assume Death Pulse is one of those like undodgeable spell things.
It's like a projectile, but it's also... Oh, Ori himself going for a Courier gets the uphill miss on it. I don't think he would not have one-shot it with his 62 damage, however. But yeah, it's one of those weird spells you can have to know every single interaction with different spells.
Yeah, Strafe is the weirdest one so far, because it's not a evasion thing. It's like you can't hit more accurately with MKB. It's just literally disjoint anything that's disjointable. That's kind of how the skill works, from my understanding.
Easy shot.
It's kind of cool, shooting arrow at the large camp so that Fenrir can get the solo experience on it. Interesting.
Nicely done.
Does pick up level 2 now. It's got a pretty fat mana pool, but doesn't really want to spam Shadow Poison most likely until he gets 2 points. Then it's going to be a lot more efficient to do so. But last hit-wise, wow, Ori, excuse me, is doing really well. 17-5 up against the 6-0 Clinks. He's just dominating.
Yeah, it looked like SCCC was prioritizing a lot of the harass, but you've got plenty of damage with Searing Arrows. You've got to imagine he should be able to get more than just 7 CS here, but getting bullied a lot. Yeah.
Should have ran Ori, dude. You probably did, right?
I did not run Ori. No.
Terrible mistake.
Yeah. So we're just 3 minutes into game 1 of 6 for these guys, you know?
That's true. Lots of points to gain.
Yeah.
Ori could still throw. You never know.
That's the hope. Not for, I mean, we're not being biased or anything here, but, you know, fantasy is important stuff.
It really is. It gets me moving on TI days, that's for sure.
So,
the best coordination I've ever seen in the off lane here. Mugi's going to stay alive, very close.
Yeah, they did put the Fenrir Shadow Demon in the off lane despite being the 5-player because they want this Shadow Demon around a combo. Working out all right for now. Ori does end up finding the Observer Ward in mid lane, so he gets a second sentry to his lane and will de-ward it, which always is worth it. As a mid or something, I'll even buy my own sentries for that because it's just like, you're getting more than 100 gold, you're getting XP, buy a sentry.
That's a really good point.
Sure, it's nice if your supports can do it for you and you just get the full gold, but, you know, if you're bringing the curry mid, just bring one yourself.
It's good for fantasy, too. Again, that's all that matters. Every word plays, man.
That's true.
Well, observer words, that is, but...
Oh, yeah, not the sentry.
But I get a point, like half a point here and there for my core picks. Thank you. Thanks for buying your own wards, guys. We appreciate it. Or at least place, you know. As a support, it warms my heart, you know. I'm sure it's the same for you.
Oh, yeah. Interesting that Paparazzi and PL got 2 points in lands. We're seeing much more of the like max Phantom Rush builds.
I mean, it does double the movement slow and increases the illusion duration by double, so it does makes the nuke so much better, really. And I guess with the Shadow Shaman dual lane, you've got so much disable anyways. It's like, do you really need that much Phantom Rush?
So KP just rushed this Javelin and is just spamming his Swashbuckle. Every time he uses it, Paparazzi is taking a third of his health. Maybe a bit less, but it feels like he just cannot stay in this lane without some serious HP regen.
That's really cool. And he skipped boots and everything. He actually just got this as fast as possible.
Has a bottle queued up now for some health mana regen. Still has a Mango left. Like, he's just pummeling this PL whenever possible. PL does still have good CS, but he's had to chew through a lot of regen to get it and now use the Shrine the second it comes up. This is the way to play Pango, I guess. Or at least a way to play Pango.
I mean, Swashbuckle normally, it just doesn't do that much damage, right? It's like 42 for 4 hits. It's good, but throwing a Javelin on top of it like increases the damage by so much. See if they get the kill here. He's going to be able to jump away, reduce some damage in case they chase, but very likely to go down, yeah.
Got a bit greedy there, and Lanham was ready for him. He's like, okay, this guy's been constantly spamming this. This time if he goes in, we're going to shackle him. We're going to go for the kill because both of us have health and mana, and they're going to get 2 kills, both for Paparazzi. Bring in those fantasy points.
Damn, dude. I picked the wrong characters.
Double kill.
I was about to get all excited about KP because he's owning or whatever, and then Paparazzi's 3 kills on the board now.
Yeah, KP02. He's actually doing just fine in terms of farm, but farm does not get you the points. That's
true.
All about those low deaths and high kills.
I do like the 2 points in Spirit Lance, though. I mean, it's only 50 damage per skill point for the second to third, or first to second, but still really worth it, I think. Mana cost is about the same.
Top lane.
Maybe not done enough.
Brawl going on. It looks like Mugi got caught by a long duration arrow, disruption arrow. And 11 won't finish him off. It'll be Fenrir who gets the kill.
I just feel like we see a lot of Bloodseekers just get utterly bullied in the laning stage the last couple of days. Maybe it's just the streams that we've been watching, but we've seen a lot of Bloodseekers have a tough time in laning.
Which is kind of crazy because to hear that's often picked up to be like a stronger laner than the alternative hard carries. That's why Bloodseeker became meta, because it's like, oh, you know, this hero doesn't get bullied. He's got this regen, but...
It's probably that it's a lot of dual lanes. Like, Bloodseeker historically was not good in dual lanes. But people kind of made it work. But it's like so many strong dual lanes just beat it easily, is what it feels like.
To the top lane. This comes a TP. Triple C as rotate to help out his boy Mugi, but there's a TP out from Fenrir. Even if he dies there, it just doesn't feel worth the TP from a Clinks. Because while this is going on, Ori is bullying the mid-tier 1 tower, getting some good damage in, top of the CS, top of the net worth chart.
He was just jungling anyways. What's the big deal, right? TP for a little gang.
It was his first like death pack rotation where he's like, okay, I've got this death pack, I'm gonna go use it.
But I mean, he just gave up the mid lane. It's 51 and 15 on Necrophos now, level 8.
Tower down below half health. A lot of damage being dealt.
And Treads pick up too, so he's just high damage. He'll probably go the damage talent at 10. He's gonna have Veil very soon. He's only about 900 gold away. And then some people are gonna start dying.
Yeah. Ori has just destroyed mid lane.
Really
that is crazy how one-sided it is right now.
It's like one of those lanes where you actually need to go back and watch the replay. It's like, wait, why is he winning by so much, you know? If you don't check those like first couple waves, it's very difficult to understand sometimes.
Yeah, and it's
kind of flows over you and all of a sudden it's out of control.
It really is one of those matchups that isn't normally this one-sided, I would say. It very much came down to Clinks not prioritizing going for last hits, going for the harass, and well, you're versing a Necro who has Death Pulse and also just Death Pulse with the regen as well as the heal, and you're going to just sustain yourself. Unless you get killed or bullied out of lane, which he just didn't achieve.
Fenrir is going to get a lot of gold from this one, I think. Shadow Poison, very good ability.
Shares the XP, but gets most of the last hits. First Rupture coming out, 11.
He does have a TP, but...
Needs to leap TP from the trees. Can they actually get to him? Nightmare? Oh, no, Brain Sap instead. They're going to make sure they get the kill.
I think if he TP'd instantly, it would have been fine. Or if he instantly left TP'd, he would have been okay.
Yes.
But
he needs to get out of range of the Nightmare and not take too much damage to it.
One of those moments, he maybe didn't know exactly where the pin... I think he did, though. I mean, their ward is over here catching vision, so... just slight mistake there.
Probably just slight panic, because Mugi, I think, just hit level 6 and then instantly used the Rupture. Mid tier 1 tower goes down. Ori, 9 minutes in, has taken a tower, land and rotate to make sure they get the last hit. You don't want to have your opponent's TP in and get a deny there. The Necro is got his Veil coming out, I imagine. Yeah, Veil already up 9 minutes in, so...
Yeah, that's going to be very nice. Veil is actually, it does stat-wise, it doesn't give you massive benefits, but I definitely buy this item too often, but it is so good on int cores like this who can just stay alive against heroes like Clinks, just to get all that extra free armor in comparison to something like an Aquila even. The Veil can just do so much offensively and defensively.
Stat-wise, it's just like a nice, it feels good to get that extra armor and health regen.
I mean, you're going to buy the double nulls in a lot of cases anyways, so if you can make benefit from the magic resistance reduction, it's great. And honestly, the regen is probably the best part about it. Like, there's a lot of times where I'll buy it and I just will forget that I don't ever hit shrines or don't hit the fountain.
Yeah.
Just because I'm just pumping out regen all game. Helps a lot.
It's the same as a Ring of Health in terms of health regen.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's
Top
the one
lane,
thing that gets increased.
Disruption Arrow, Faith is being caught out and brought down.
Someday I'm going to catch one of those. But we all know. Laning stage, I can't handle that part.
You're a late game observer.
I'm a late game observer.
Late game, yeah.
Except for when it's a base race and the Clinks is already teleported back to his own base. And yeah, that's about it. That's the only place it goes wrong.
Mid lane, Lan M will be in some trouble here. Clinks is ready to back this one up, and yeah, KP is going to commit to this one. Next comes out. Are they even going to get this kill? They're going to have to use a Rupture. They use absolutely everything, and Lan M's going to live probably. He's got one more right click. He barely gets the kill. I think he reaped half a second sooner. He actually probably saves Lan M there.
That just felt like a really unfortunate place for the Shadow Shaman to land. I'm like, there's still a tree here. I thought I was watching a replay for a second because the trees didn't go away, but he just didn't actually cut the trees down while Rolling Thundered, and then the Clinks couldn't attack the whole time. Yep, I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. I mean, in the meantime, they still do lose a tower top, so not really the best kill. But at least they didn't get their Bloodseeker Reapered, I guess.
Yeah, and Mugi's not having a good game, that's for sure. Bottom lane Ori's going to get Curse crowned up, but should be just fine. I say that. There's a Dark Willow on top of him now. Definitely one of the heroes that, in general, matches up a little bit better against Necro than others, because if you get on top of him, he can't really... never wants to go Shroud.
Yeah, Cockup clearly on a different page than the rest of his team there, wanting to go for that kill, but his teammates using their skills on the creep wave, as there are wards down here as well. They're being really careful. They do not want to get killed here. And there's pretty solid dive from Vici Gaming side, so...
They're bringing more here. They're going to keep 11 top and leave the rest of the heroes down bottom. But Newbee poised to defend this tier 1 tower. Vici Gaming 3k gold ahead, 0-4 so far in the group stage, looking to put their first win on the board and looking pretty damn good so far.
Yeah, this is a really good advantage for 12 minutes. For sure. Bane hasn't really done Bane stuff that much. I mean, he's only died once, I guess, but he hasn't had the lane presence I would normally expect out of his hero. Kaka now rotating top. That's the hero he's going to try to snag. He does have a Dust as well, so he could chase Mirana, but the triple leap is likely to get her out if he does catch her.
Yeah.
Unless they get like a grip or something. Maybe a little hard there.
I mean, they put some vision very defensively, but Mirana's playing away from it. Yeah. Interesting item build, the Yule Scepter queued up for Mirana. You mentioned it as an item against Bloodseeker for Necro, but for the same reason, it's good on Mirana. Can also act as a guaranteed arrow setup.
It's really good against Clinks too. It's like the one way that you can dispel strafe instantly without it being a projectile. So it can work there as well. I think it's a good pickup. On the bright side for Newbee, they've done a really good job elongating the time that it takes to kill this tier 1 tower bottom. They really slowed that down. In the meantime, all of their heroes are farming and getting some advantage here. The only downside was it was maybe weak farm for Bane, but it was offsetting a tier 2 tower pressure.
Yep. As Ori, who gets his second tower kill of the game, and he's now got Hood and Veil. This is Necro's kind of first big early game peak, and he gets pretty damn hard to kill at this point.
Lan M's apparently the fantasy point leader. Good for him. Play some words, man.
There you go.
Or something. Oh no, he just got the first blood. It's broken. It's not broken, but yeah, it's 4 points. It kind of messes up the whole chart.
Yes.
First blood's the way to go. Yeah, Necro double hat strat. And they're going to go and put the don't think he's going to make it.
And that one will be the Reaper kill. Mugi deleted for 44 seconds.
That one's really hard. I mean, they get the tier 1 tower. It's very difficult to defend in that part of the map without going for a D ward. And even then, the observer ward that they placed was not quite in the most predictable point. They are smoking around to get initiation here, but I mean, right now, if they catch Shadow Demon, that's not what they want. They want the core, and they're actually aiming kind of for him. The smoke broke, and I think he realizes, though, but he gets caught. Great route there by Kaka.
Yeah, or he still has a Ghost Ride. He's not an easy kill by any means. With the hood as well, he's tanky, but not tanky enough. Lanham shows up a little bit too late. Still is going to go for the Serpent Wards into an arrow. S-Triple-C brought down in return. It's not as big of a kill as the Ori one, but they may hunt for a little more. But
yeah, took a little bit more than they wanted to get the kill, but KP hit a weird edge. It's hard to get all their damage out at the right time. Are they going to Kaka here?
Actually had 17 one charges.
It's the last poison.
Rear. Ooh, another ever so slight dodge. Even if he hits that, it looks like he would have been able to survive. Need 6, maybe even 7.
Yeah, he had Tranquils going anyway, so probably going to be fine, but definitely a little scary there.
Yeah. But yeah, Necro, 17 one charges. If he somehow got that off during Ghost Shroud.
Yeah, that's great. He was stunned that whole time.
I don't think he was. He was moving at the end. He must. I think it was just, so much going on. Sometimes you just don't push it once.
Huh. Well, that would have been... No, he got terrorized for sure as well.
Oh, yeah. Sure. That's why he was walking, but
terrorized.
not disabled. So,
Shadow
Bounty
Shaman.
Rune. Lanham, he's invis. He's baiting them in. Is he going to pick it up? He picks it up and...
Nice, like, oh shit, 3 arrows.
Another Rolling Thunder coming out. This one, they're going to focus down Lanham first. He's still in a bit of trouble here. Gets disrupted. That's going to help keep him alive for now, but they lost the Necro. That's the much bigger kill. And despite all of Ori's early game farm, he finds himself getting gone on several times in a row and still brought down.
There is a Diffusal Blade on the PL, so he's going to drain some mana here. Trying to finish off Fenrir, but yeah, that'll cost him way too much.
Fenrir did manage to kill off KP, though. He got the Poison Explode just before he died. 11 now stunned up as well. S-Triple-C chasing, has a strafe as well. Through an arrow, I believe it missed Mugi, and 11 leaping away will not find the kill.
Gills is ready, jumps into the dark Bramble Maze, though. And Newbee's going to have a pretty good fight there. I mean, the Necro actually got relatively wrecked. Got Fiend's Grip, they couldn't really slow that down. The Rolling Thunder did a lot of damage once again, really disrupting the team fight as a whole. It's definitely a good grab there for Newbee. And that's, I mean, you can definitely see how important it is to take like 3-man gank movement things around Bounty Runes, because you know your opponents are going to go for it. It definitely helps when your opponents are more responsible. If you know they're going to be there, then you can set up these kinds of little engagements, and both teams kind of trying to attempt that there. Maybe one of the best things about Pangolier, those early fights on like a 70-second ulti cooldown, he's always ready to go.
Yeah, it really is such a low cooldown to play around compared to some of these other big team fight ultis. And when you get a blink, it kind of feels like a Ravage because you can just roll in, hit 1 or 2, and then blink to another hero or 2, and you're hitting often 3-4 heroes with your Rolling Thunder.
And each time is 200 magic damage.
Yep.
That is crazy. That is so much. You can easily hit one guy like twice, maybe 3 times. So, really fantastic ultimate. So, 3,200 gold for Bloodseeker, still working towards his Radiance, but OPL's going to go a little bit more the ganky build. He hasn't committed to the Shadow Blade yet, but this is sometimes built like Diffusal Blade, Shadow Blade. They'll go like Silver Edge, maybe get a Bloodthorn or a Nullifier. It's kind of a fun playstyle, don't see too often.
It's under attack.
Doesn't Yules himself. I don't think he wants to set up a Bramble Maze. Just pinks the Cursed Crown.
They want to go on him, they're thinking about it.
Oh, he tries to leap up, but he doesn't quite make it far enough away. Instead, though, Clinks is going for Shadow Demon because he hit both with the Terrorize, and 11 is going to Yules into the Rolling Thunder. You betcha. He leaps into it, in fact. He leapt into a Terrorize. He leapt into a Rolling Thunder. Just not his day.
Man, I wish he would have like leapt onto the bowl and just been like running on it like a cat, you know, like that would have been really good.
Okay.
Instead, he gets reflected off. It's a strong spinning ball. But that was a really good gank. I think they saw Kaka messing around there, channeling Terrorize, but boy did it nailed him perfectly. He's had some really good Terrorize this game, I must say.
Standout player for Newbee. Always has been one of their big playmakers that they look towards in these key games. And
big fantasy player for those of you guys who are, more so when roaming was the thing. But
one of the few 4s, because it's it's all about the 5s with the supports, because they plant wards, get lots of points there, but some 4s can rack up points.
Absolutely. So where's Pango going next? Blink Dagger's up, cool. So lots of mana regen items, nothing abnormal there, but even easier for him to team fight now. Still kind of curious how they're going to try to deal with the PL.
Well, you mentioned the Radiance on Bloodseeker, and that's just about completed.
Yes.
Mid lane, blink into Yules, into an arrow. That's not going to land. 11, you got to practice your combos, and he's going to TP on out. Oops.
Yep, I mean, that's the only setup stun they have, right? That's ground targeted, just the arrow.
Yeah.
Get a Rupture pretty early on Mirana, but they're actually coming in for the fight
Yule's
here.
on cooldown, hits him with the Rolling Thunder, so he gets caught by the Blood Right, hits the bounce off the wall. 6 stuns in 1 Rolling Thunder, 2 on each of the heroes. KP Dota.
That was such a fun team fight to watch because the Rupture just felt so out of place. Like it was like, you 1v3, are you crazy? And then they all just back up a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like Fiend's Grip from the back. And the Rolling Thunder, they're all lined up in a row, and then he hits the wall and comes back. Man, that was a beautiful fight.
Yeah, hits the line, then does the return trip.
So much benefit from their heroes. So really seeing the value of Pangolier if your team is moving around correctly together. Oh, here's our replay. Fight once again.
Oh, that was just perfect.
There's the line. They come back through again. Mugi can do whatever he wants. Like, they were just completely limited from what they could do. It's like Rupture the Mirana, and she's actually kind of in a bad spot. I think that's why she picked up the Yules, because she knows she can't leap. She can, but she'll take a lot of damage. In the same vein, though, if she buys damage items, maybe she could just attack.
Yes.
But
I would have preferred just to see the, BKB after like a Maelstrom type build. Maelstrom BKB. You have the defensive item then as well as the right-click item, but
maybe he's just concerned that he wouldn't be able to deal with the Clinks that way or something.
That's true.
He had a good laning stage, but since 10-11's kind of fell off 1, 3, and 5.
Yep.
And Yules is not going to really help that change. I mean, I guess he can arrow and nuke creep waves more because he's got good mana regen. That part's kind of nice, I suppose. That's one way to think about it.
This game was a 5K gold lead for Vici Gaming. We were praising them, and all of a sudden we're back to even, and Newbee have their items online to help deal with the PL with the Maelstrom on Clinks, the Radiance on Bloodseeker, and not quite the comfortable looking game that it once was.
Ooh, I actually really like what SCC is doing in this game. He skipped the Soul Ring. I genuinely don't think that's the item on Clinks. I think it's overkill. Like, buying that item on a non-strength hero, on a if buying it on an int hero, it's got to be like on a strength hero in a lot of cases, I feel.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give you any good scaling at all. It gives you some HP regen, but like with Medallion and Aquila and Clarities, he's got enough mana, and then he doesn't have to spend 800 on this dead item slot.
You can buy 16 Clarities for that price. I don't think you need 16 Clarities. You're probably good with like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
so
to cover at least the mid-game portion of the game. But yeah, I think this is the way to go. He's queuing up a BKB next. I think his item build so far is solid. Maybe he wants Diffusal Blade, maybe Mjolnir Rush afterwards to help deal with the PL, but not quite solidified on that one yet. I don't know, what would you do? What do you think is the best Clinks item? Maybe goes like Orchid or something? Not sure. We'll see after this fight, though.
Yeah.
No sentries down just yet. Newbee does not realize, and there's disruption. This should be an arrow.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They're leaving him to die. They're actually going to commit the Reaper, which is probably fine. Absolutely fine, considering Newbee backed off, but something you have to be careful about doing in some fights because you may need it later on.
Yeah.
You don't want to use it on a free kill just because you can. But Newbee are going to play things safe until they have BKBs, I imagine.
Yep, they ditched back to push out lanes and farm a little bit because they know they can't fight for 70 seconds. KP is pretty stacked, though. He's queuing up an Aeon Disc. He only needs a bit booster and the recipe, so he's not too far away. It would work really good in fights like that, actually. He would probably still die. Like, I could definitely see like a Hex after the Aeon Disc pops.
Yeah.
But at least it would force more abilities, and if he doesn't get disrupted into Arrow like that, it'll absolutely be useful in the fights. He also finishes his Maelstrom as well. So they've still got some PL solutions. PL changing build ideas, going for Manta now, so more standard. Just trying to overflow with the illusions.
Do you think he intentionally built the Maelstrom? Because he had the Javelin for a long time. He may have just been trying to buy a BKB component.
I would say it's worth building. I mean, the magic damage goes up by 60 per proc. I mean, obviously it bounces, so it's still good. But against a PL, it's just something you do. There's so many illusions that you're hitting, and you get 4 hits on each of them that you're going to proc Maelstroms. It just feels like something you might as well do. And plus, like with PL's recent nerf of the illusion damage taken on Juxtapose, it went from 500 to 600. AoE, like Maelstrom, is even better at this stage in the game. Late game, still not amazing, but for right now, it just feels like it's worth 1,600 gold to make it so much better to me.
Okay.
Plus, he can push with it.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of benefits.
Yeah, his ability to he can clear wave kind of fine with his spells, but now he can just be a bit more efficient with the Maelstrom procs.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the way to go.
Yep.
I don't play that hero much, but...
Well, right now, as mentioned, Newbee really do need these BKBs to team fight better, and they've got 2 coming up soon with both Clinks and Bloodseeker. about 500 gold away each. On the Radiant side, what are we looking at here? Mirana's going back for a Maelstrom.
Yep.
Yule's Maelstrom, bit of an odd build, starting out for the utility item, going back for the damage. Necro has BKB queued up. PL went for a Manta, not the Shadow Blade.
So BKB next on Necro is his follow-up, but he's got the Blink Dagger, so you can always get Reaper sides off if they find opportunities. But they are pretty burst heavy. Lan going for a Aether Lens at this point. Picked up an Urn. I like builds like this on Shadow Shaman. Just get a little tanky, lots of mana regen. It's definitely favorable. Interesting skill build on him though. He went like he went 2-2-1, then he got a third Ether Shock, then he got a third Hex. Now he's maxing Hex. Kind of all over the place, but would you ever get the Hex cooldown talent at 15? I don't think anybody does. They always go cast range, but it puts it down to an 8-second cooldown on Hex. That's pretty crazy.
If you're more farmed and you feel like you're confident you're going to stay alive in a fight, it makes sense, I would say.
Something I've always wanted to try.
I mean, the Aether Lens, it's like, oh, you're going cast range. On the Aether Lens, you want more cast range. Well, it's like also at the same time you could say you have enough cast range. You don't need that extra 125.
Yeah, I mean, you could cast almost twice as many Hexes.
Yep.
So feels like
I think it's a good talent. It's one of those things where most people get the cast range, but I don't think that Hex cooldown needs buffs.
All right,
That
great
Nightmare save.
That was a lot of damage prevented right there.
Tango still in trouble though. Gets caught by the Reaper, trying to roll away, and Ori is there in the right place, right time with the Blink Dagger.
Man, you can really see how much they need a Shadow Demon on Newbee's team right now. Like,
yeah.
It's like just the easy setup with Arrow or whatever they use and the Reaper side. If they could just keep KP alive at the start of these fights, the whole thing would be different. That's why he's going for Aether or for Aeon Disc, but it just takes so long to get there.
So KP, between those two Reaper deaths, is going to have spent like 3 of the last 4 minutes dead.
It's tough.
He was dead for like 70, respawned, died about a minute later.
He's had such a good game too, but his stats don't look great. 2, 5, and 7. I mean, I guess they've got Nightmare. That is a 1-second disruption, arguably. We saw it in that last fight, but yeah, Glimmer Cape from Bane could really help. Just having more raw HP could really help. That's having his Vid Booster certainly makes a bit of a difference there. But
both teams smoked up around the Roshan pit. Newbee think they're Roshing and want to contest it, but they're wrong about it. It's Ori who will break the smoke and blink away, and the rest of Vici, they were smoked up. They're going to get the arrow on the Bane, bring him down first. Terrorize going to be pump faked here, trying to catch out a couple of heroes, but unsuccessful except 11, who is still so low, brought down by the BKB.
Wow.
S-Triple-C. Bloodseeker does die despite his BKB, and Clinkz is kind of salvaging this fight, actually gets himself a double kill. S-Triple-C, despite fighting against the odds, it was a 3v5 fight, has done all right.
That was a big save by Fenrir there, absolutely changing the fight. The Bloodseeker pops BKB, runs in at a great moment, and did a lot of damage to PL, but the disruption bought him a couple times, wasted 2 more seconds of the BKB duration, and end up with Bloodseeker dying first, not getting the heal, completely changing the fight outcome there. But either way, a great initiation for Vici. They basically caught Newbee unawares from the backside.
Yeah, and they instantly killed the Bane. Despite that, I mean, you can see how impactful these BKBs can be. Because even though Bloodseeker dies, S-Triple-C, he's being ignored. He very easily and quickly kills a couple heroes. And Vici Gaming do have to respect the strength of this BKB timing on the Newbee side. If Newbee managed to get a fight with 5 heroes, I don't see much hope for Vici Gaming to take a 5v5 engagement.
I feel like we've been seeing a lot of jungling in the last couple days. Like a lot of like small downtime, go hit these triple camps. Like these are being heavily abused by a lot of teams. Feels like.
There's the Aeon Disc. KP disassembles his Arcane Boot so we can get at that a little bit quicker. And this will make his life a little bit easier.
Absolutely. So another way to protect himself. Mugi queuing up a Butterfly, great option against a PL. He's got tons of armor already, so adding evasion on top of that will be a great solution. But you know, PL's nearing his I'll have too much HP area where he'll just stay alive for a long time. See if that makes a big difference. So it seems like initiation is obviously huge this game. And it feels like Newbee's just better at team fights, whereas Vici Gaming is just better at little pickoffs, perhaps.
Another Moonlight Shadow. Vici Gaming just keep wanting to look for these pickoffs that you're talking about. Using this Moonlight Shadow whenever it's available, constantly using smokes. There are sentry wards that they're about to run into, though, and I think they see Ori. He gets hit by the creeps here. The Yule Step is there. There is an Aeon Disc, though. Oh, no, sorry, that's not KP. That's Kaka instead. He should be dead, but the Nightmare trying to help him out. The Shadow Rumble followed up. He's going for the TP. KP also going at the Rolling Thunder, though, but he has no backup whatsoever. He needs to just get the hell out of there, and he goes bouncing over a cliff to scurry on home. Yeah,
seeing the power of the Shadow Demon ulti, removing the Yule Scepter, but Kaka getting the Shadow Realm off. They bought him enough time for him to defend himself and just TP out. Like that, the Shadow Realm TP has been so valuable this game. Again, it's just arrow. They don't have another way to interrupt that teleport, and Kaka just reading the team fight really well.
Newbee seem to be worried about Roche. Yeah, they're actually smoking. They did a scan at the Roshan pit that went red, but there's not
get the subs too.
Vici Gaming in there.
Or at least the creep wave will.
Will they find Ori? He's got to blink if he's quick. There's also a BKB. Can they get the grip? No. Ori very fast react. He's had a good game despite a couple of deaths in the mid game. Disruption arrow not going to land on Clinks.
Oh man, they double warded and they're under 2 sentries. That feels really bad,
Wow.
dude.
Shadow Demon's like, I'll take these D-wards.
That's actually so much gold. It's like killing a pair of Necro 3s or something.
300 gold going the way of
Shadow Demon. Oh, he
Shadow
deserved it.
Demon.
It's a Shadow Demon.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Disruption. Yep, he takes those.
I don't feel bad anymore.
Dire's
SEC queuing up a Scythe of Ice actually next. So a little interesting.
Okay.
It's going to limit his damage, but it's going to make it a lot easier to kill people. And that's definitely one of the things they're lacking as well on their side. They've got Rolling Thunder for stun. They've got Fiend's Grip. But past that, kind of hard to grab heroes like Necrophos without him getting his BKB off his Ghost Shroud and making his ultimate death a lot harder.
11 leading a smoke gank of Vici Gaming's own. Both teams have been very aggressive about using these smokes here in the last 5 minutes of this game. I feel like this is the 5th or so that we've seen between the two teams.
And they do kind of know where their opponents are playing, at least. They see
Yeah.
the PL. I think they might have seen the Death Pulse as well, but by the time their opponents even maybe take this tower, it should be a dead road.
They kind of catch Vici Gaming unawares a little bit. Don't imagine Vici Gaming would have happily let them pick that for free, but at the same time, it's very hard to contest because of the Newbee teamfight advantage that we've been talking about, as well as these BKBs being very hard to deal with.
And no, most of the time as well, the other thing I'd point out is the Mirana ulti. It's just been so impactful in so many of the games so far at TI. But it's slightly offset by things like Clinks having invisibility and even like Dark Willow being difficult to kill. So even if they do want to engage on their opponents or find them before they end up taking Roche, it's not always easy to know exactly where they're going to be. So a little bit more passive farming again, and the game continues.
Yep. Do you think this favors either team if this, you know, keeps on dragging out, goes 40, 50, 60 minutes into the real late game?
I mean, we always have to worry about PL solutions, and they're building some. So I guess I'm worried about that. Is there anything else you're thinking of?
I mean, I would look at the Bloodseeker and his itemization. He is going for this very carry-oriented build, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah,
You mentioned the butterfly, the Radiance BKB butterfly. There's none of these like Yule Scepters, I don't know, like Blood Right Rupture damage-based builds that you sometimes see. He's going all in on the right clicks.
Would you do something? You'd probably still get Mjolnir on, I'm guessing.
On Bloodseeker?
Yeah, because like Blood Rage plus Mjolnir is really valuable, obviously. Just amplifying all the damage, or maybe.
I wouldn't mind like an AC.
Okay, just like get super super physically tanky.
Yeah,
I guess.
AC,
Okay.
possibly a Skadi or Basha type build. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of different, I guess, approaches because it's
Yeah.
not just PL you have to worry about. Necro is also a very scary late game. Lincolns could be very effective against him
Yeah.
since he has no way to break the Lincolns.
Yeah, that was definitely one thing I was worried about. Once his BKB runs out, that okay, he's gonna be really good against PL, but then he's just gonna get shredded by like Necro Soul Catcher.
Yeah.
He'll die almost instantly. So it'll make team fights kind of hard. Maybe it would be like an OG situation yesterday where you find the right carry and you just kind of lose the game instantly.
They have one Lincoln's coming on KP's Pinko, which I like.
That's a great choice. Yeah.
Definitely and he's not a carry, so he doesn't feel like, oh, you know, this is a lot of money to spend on an item that's not going to give me, you know, damage or something more impactful.
And he's already got his core items too. He's got Blink, he's got Maelstrom, and then now he's building supplementary items to make sure that he actually gets his ult off.
Yep.
Dire's top
He knows, yeah. The main thing for him is get your ulti off. It doesn't matter about doing damage himself. That's what the other heroes like SCCC are there for, and that's exactly what him and Kaka are going to do in the mid lane. Now the Rolling Thunder comes in. They catch two. He leaps or blinks into it. 11 just TP'd right in. Immediately melts. What was he thinking?
Well, they'll get a tower out of it at least, but Kaka might be able to get the follow-up. He's got Doppelganger. He can remove that. He's got a Manta in 2 seconds as well. Here comes the teleport. Doesn't quite catch him. Never mind. The Yule's going to interrupt it. Do they have Fiend's Grip? They don't. They've got a Nightmare, though. It's getting scary, though. They need some AoE wave clear.
Yeah,
Paparazzi might get
Kill
killed.
with the PL, yeah. Paparazzi is just going to hold his ground and fight. He's going on SCCC. He's like, that's a PL. My hero doesn't touch PL. Paparazzi, he finds him with the real one. He's not being dealt with. They followed his illusion. He's gone after SCCC. He's going to get this kill.
my God.
Paparazzi, 1 versus 5. You magician. He
That
gets a
was
kill
great.
before he dies. Almost gets a couple kills.
And that's what they got to worry about on Newbee's side. I do not blame them for the TPs. They interrupted his escape, but man, he just is very hard to deal with. And is that
right.
pre-heart? No, he's got heart now. So, but killing his opponent first, he got 600 gold out of that 1v4.
I mean, you mentioned if this does go to the ultra late, it's how, is there an answer to the PL? And I think that right there shows there is, even with, this is with Radiance and Maelstrom, there is not a great answer to PL.
Yes, there is not. I mean, Mjolnir goes a long way because then you're bouncing 9 times instead of 4, I believe is what the difference is.
Okay. And you have the active component
yes,
too.
exactly. If you throw that on whichever guy's getting gone on and he starts getting hit by a ton of little illusions, you're going to proc a lot of AoE blasts. So that would be a solution. But that was a tough one. They also didn't have Rolling Thunder. If they have like the Rolling Thunder active disable that he can just roll back and through the illusions, it would work a lot.
Being purged up, and there's also a 5-second arrow to follow it up, but he's got Aegis, so they don't actually want to go on him. They're going to go on Kaka instead, who gets instantly hexed. And
great Nightmare.
Nightmare, yeah, that actually saves his life. There was a Shackle, and it got immediately cancelled, but the Reaper going to find the Bloodseeker Aegis here. That means Necro's in a bit of a tough pickle here. He's got BKB as well as an Axe Scepter if he can buy some time, but the cooldown is way too long for him. And he and Mirana both get picked off. Newbee chase down Vici Gaming, killing 3, looking for a 4th. Paparazzi.
I don't know about this one, guys.
Yeah. Triple C is not going to get the kill on Lan M here. Paparazzi's just going to turn and try fight. Mugi, though, has the Mjolnir static charge.
That's from KP. Somebody's ready to carry.
KP finished one, yeah. I'd say I saw one queued up on Clinks after the Hex, but...
Yeah. This is a great choice. I mean, it was either Lincoln's, right, on Pengo, and I think it's a good choice to make it, but spending that 3k gold to instantly finish the Mjolnir is certainly more worth it considering what the problems are right now.
Yeah, multiple Mjolnirs and the Radiance might just start adding up. And you kind of asked, like, does Bloodseeker... You mentioned getting the Mjolnir. He's got it queued up. They're going to go for triple Mjolnir.
It's basically either that or you get a Battle Fury, but buying a late Battle Fury kind of feels bad. It's not bad. Like, it's actually really good. Late Battle Furies on somebody that has this much attack speed. He's got lifesteal. I think that could be better, actually. But Mjolnir isn't terrible either. In the short term, it'll probably be better, maybe.
See how things go from here. Newbee have pulled ahead about a 6,000 gold lead. Gaming have just not really looked that good in terms of their... It's like, yeah, they've got a weaker teamfight line, but they're also choosing bad team fights. 11 has like gone into some very questionable positions. That TP in there, a couple of fights where he's being picked off and leapt into enemy spells.
It is a hard game, though. It seems like Rupture is one of the good solutions. Yeah, I think Faith has been playing amazing. His Nightmare timings have absolutely turned some of these fights. Like, Newbee's just outplaying, basically. KP had some weak rolls kind of at the beginning of that last fight, but the fact that they bursted on the Necro in time made it all worth it. Yep. They're just playing well. And Ori's, like, the problem with Necro as a core is, like, you can't solo carry this. It's not a hero that can just, like, blow people up. You need a little bit of cover. You need to combo. You need your allies to set up kills for you. But it's been hard for them to find these engagements because Newbee's kind of just been passive and sitting back a lot.
We'll see if things change here as Newbee going to smoke up as 5. Similar kind of approach Newbee are known for, this group team play, and they're going to smoke at the Mirana, who's TPing on out. 11 with a heads-up call there, knowing what was perhaps coming his way. But even with smoking up, it doesn't really feel like Newbee are going aggressive with their play. They take a very defensive route to the bottom lane through the enemy jungle, where they know it's pretty safe because they've got a deep ward. They're not really taking a big risk here with this move. Yeah,
that's true, I guess. And even the last fight, it was a defensive reaction. They covered their ally that got arrowed, so it seems like they're just kind of reacting to fights. But there's another Maelstrom coming. This one's going to be for Mugi.
Vici Gaming on the other side of the river here, actually on Newbee's side.
They're going to know, though. They saw the courier for sure. So
courier flies over. They could try and snipe it over the creep wave. Does Ori actually want it? He's going to have to reveal his position. He's going to go for it. Right click. Okay, doesn't one-shot it. Doesn't have the damage.
Rangers do a lot less damage to couriers. I think it's like melees have like a 50% damage bonus or something against them.
Okay.
That's how it works. So
there you go.
You have to be a really high damage range hero.
Vici Gaming now are going to have the Mirana Moonlight Shadow wear off, and they maintain their position around that high ground cliff, playing around their sentries and observers, but similar kind of thing. Newbee, just play it safe. Don't take any chances running forward blind. And Vici Gaming will just continue to pulse around here, hoping for Roshan. It's just about to hit that minimum Roshan respawn, and we are looking at a 2-minute 45-second respawn beyond that.
Okay.
So very late Roshan coming for this game. But the teams don't know that, so they're going to still be playing around Roshan even if it's not respawning anytime soon.
And they should on Vici Gaming's side. Their wards are really good for it right now. Wards are on the tier 2 mid or on the high ground. They've got a lot of sentries playing around the mid lanes, so they should be able to cover that.
At some point, Newbee's going to feel like they have to go to Roche, even though it's not there, because they don't have a good way of scouting it right now.
Yeah. I actually like the ping that they just made on Vici Gaming side. They can kill shrines. They got that tier 3 tower top when Paparazzi 1v4'd their team. So with that tower dead, kill the shrines, control some more map control. Whereas on Newbee side, they can't really pressure towers because they can't really take down the mid tier 2. They're not going to go top tier 2s, surely, because they're not going to play on that side of the map. They spawn land him.
Yes. No, they did not. No. He spots them. He actually going to drop the surfboard from the low ground to high. Instant Reaper going to take the Dark Willow out for 2 minutes, so he's going to immediately buy back. Clinks is going for LAN with the silence there. The right clicks, they've got the detection, so they will get the kill here, but that's the Rolling Thunder down. Bane dies on the back line. Shaman and Bane both going to buy back. Teams both recognizing this is the key fight for them. They don't know that Roshan is actually still quite a ways away, or they may not be buying back here, but it could respawn is the big thing here. So if you win this fight, and like convincingly, you're thinking we get Roche. But
they did lose a gem though, right? Let me just open this obnoxious screen. There's one on Pangolier still, so they should be able to get D-wards perhaps.
That's their Faith's gem, so his teammates.
The Vici Gaming the initiation was really helpful. I definitely noticed the cast range difference in that engagement.
Yes.
It's like he was actually hidden the whole time. They had no idea where he was, and the wards and the hexes come down. It's really useful.
That's how you play around your vision. His Observer Ward on that high ground allowed him to get a Serpent Ward drop from nowhere, a Hex with it, and Shackle the other. Very clean play coming out from Lanham. Banner Runes will spawn, it looks like it'll be 2 apiece. Vici Gaming maintain their control over this Roshan pit, for now at least, while Newbee take the ones down bottom.
Yep. Peels finishes Monkey King bar, so the Butterfly and the Bloodseeker is not going to be nearly as good as it used to be, but...
Watch out, SCCC has a double damage rune. You see Ori run right into him. Has a Hex as well. Doesn't want to go on a Necro. He knows there's maybe a Shadow Demon behind and would have been correct. And there's going to be a Blood Right for Vision that misses. One more right click, it also misses. Oh my gosh, can they catch a break or not? He'll finish him off with the Swashbuckle and the grip on Ori. The Terrorize to make sure he doesn't use any spells. They get 2 kills out of it. Great play from Newbee. They got a bit unlucky going for the Shadow Demon kill, but they were rewarded with a Necro one as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was close. Ori was probably a fraction of a second away from blinking in that moment, but does get caught. And one of the best things about Bane usually is that...
Arrow on KP. Trying to force out the Aeon Disc. They'll be successful. The Yule Scepter. Oh, he barely dodges the Blood Right. Almost landed in it. Clink's coming in. Yeah, the Bloodseeker. Oh, doesn't quite die there. He's still alive on the AP. Still ends up dying, not to the Reaper at least. As SCCC is holding his ground, trying to fight, trying to take down Paparazzi. The arrow will be blocked by the BKB. Paparazzi still fairly low, but he's starting to heal up by the heart. They haven't managed to break that one, and they're going to chase down the Willow. If he dies, he's dead for like 2 minutes. And that is a long, long respawn for him. 100 seconds on the sidelines. And that's with Roche up. That's where that Necro buyback pays for itself, because now you can dump an Aegis on Ori, and he's going to feel a whole lot better about himself.
I mean, at least they dodged the Reaper's Scythe on the Bloodseeker using Nightmare, but I mean, this is going to have to be a 4v5, and they are clearly having some big
They may go for it. Fenrir actually just TP'd into a Clinks here. He needs to be careful. He may just get caught up by the Hex. SCCC shove a freebie out of this one. No save available. Okay. Clinks nearby, though. Have they got detection? He's got a Dust. He's going to catch SCCC. Gets him with a Hex up top. Shackle to follow. Is there an arrow? Or he's got a Reaper here.
This is going to last a long time. They got the Shackle
Dust is wearing off. Reaper. It's going to be not enough damage, and SCCC will survive. No additional detection.
That was so big, actually. The fact they didn't get him.
Was his veil on cooldown?
It might have been in his backpack. When he was dead before, I noticed it was his backpack. He might not have noticed.
It wouldn't have been enough damage on its own, I believe, to kill him. But
he had that Hex cooldown, though. Yep. That would have been Hex into Shackle. Wait, are they going to contest it now? They just went into... Oh, no, KP blinked wrong. Oh, that was such a big loss here. He could have gotten into the Roche pit for sure.
Yeah, we've seen so many... Oh, wow, Roche actually died to the Dire. KP gets in now. There's a long duration on Paparazzi. KP will pay for this with life. I have no idea what just happened. Swash.
Maybe like Blood Right or something?
Blood Right? Yeah, I did not see that one.
It had to be like Blood Right, because there's... anyone else that has like some kind of a ranged kill ability, it must have been him.
Okay.
All right, so they get a little gold out of it, but ultimately the prizes that Roche drops is far more important. There's a cheese on the PL to keep him alive. They're just having PL options. This is like one of those situations I genuinely think that Mugi should have gone for a Battle Fury. Like, Battle Fury scales so much better against a PL than Maelstrom does, and Mjolnir even. Even with the damage buffs, it just seems like they're having trouble. Like, they've got lots of Mjolnirs, but it only does so much
Dire's
damage.
top shrine is under attack.
Clink's getting ready to skill up his last talent as well. Curious which one he'll pick, but he goes multi-shot.
Yeah.
Probably the right move considering
Clinks.
against the Clinks. And even with the Mjolnir, it's actually really smart to have.
Proc on either shot, so.
Dire's
I think it's a good
top
choice this game.
shrine is falling.
Right?
And they've got some dispels for the strafe as well. So we've seen them be
Yeah.
pretty good about using things like the Yule Scepter against it.
That's a great point. Or even the Shadow Demon ulti.
Yep.
All right, hitting the high ground. Thinking about a Terrorize.
Nightmaring the PL constantly.
Oh, he's ruptured too, and now scaring him.
Can he get this cheese off with the disruption? He should be okay to do so. 11 looks for the arrow, hits the Dark Will in the backlines here. The Serpent's chewing away at this Rax here. Paparazzi's still getting low. He has got the cheese. He's trying to bait them in. It looks like Paparazzi should be just fine. The Reaper comes out, deletes the Bane. Ori, though, loses his Aegis here. Can't afford to die again. He just pulled back, and it looks like he should be A-okay here. The melee Rax very, very low. 11. He's the one sent in to finish it off and doesn't quite do so. The lone Serpent Ward. One more right click. Somebody. Paparazzi's like, I've got this, guys. Hex got a Hex out as well, and that could be the death of the Clinks here.
Tries to put the Lincolns on in time, but the Hex comes just a bit earlier. So it's a 4v5 here in Vici Gaming. Looking like they have a good hold of this game, but it's not over yet. Buyback from Clinks comes. He needs to get his ultimate off, get some bonus damage, HP. Man, they can't even touch the PL right now.
This is one of the big weaknesses of Clink. Situation like this, you buy back or you respawn, you don't have a good death pack target. You'd love to find that big tanky neutral, but it doesn't exist. There's
Well,
no
they might kill
creeps here, but can they actually get the kill? There's a disruption, comes just in time before he gets stunned up by KP's Rolling Thunder. They're still going to get the kill here. Great play from Newbee. Their teamfight prowess really shining as they get the second and third. Leaping in is the Moran of 11, a suicide mission if anything. He's gone into 4 heroes with a leap. He should have just bailed, but he'll go down, guns blazing, and give Newbee 4 kills in a very big hold. They do lose the top lane, but holding the mid lane.
That kind of felt like it was almost the end of the game there for Newbee if they didn't execute that right. But the Rupture combos are actually so strong for them. Rupture into Terrorize, make them run away and take bonus Rupture damage. All those things are very effective. But yeah, hitting the back line was the way to go there.
See it again here briefly. The backline Rolling Thunder from KP caught 3 heroes. Even though the disruption came out in the PL, he was still in such a bad position that there was just nothing the rest of the team could do to save him. And it's now Vici Gaming who are going to be forced to buy back to defend.
And watching that clip again, it's so remarkable how much the team fight changes as soon as the PL's dead. Like, once PL's dead, Newbee knows they can do whatever the heck they want.
That's the only hero they're scared of. This Necros just not had quite the impact you'd hope, considering his good early game start. Melee Rax just getting shredded by the Strafe, the Clinks, and Newbee seemed content to back off, reset, and look for another team fight.
Probably a Shrine kill maybe on the way out, but I mean, maybe if Necro has like a Radiance or something, he'd feel scarier because then he could do more standing in the enemy team lineup. But I kind of get his point that his build is, and his team's setup is a lot around like getting that one burst kill. I think the one hero that's underperforming is probably old 11's Mirana, like the Yule Scepter. They've gotten some Yule's arrow setups, but they haven't always turned them into kills, and he just hasn't had the carry potential that they've maybe been hoping for.
Yep.
So it's like getting these kills has been difficult.
No, I definitely agree. It feels like we haven't seen the kind of output you'd hope from. It's the kind of core hero in the offlane that you're picking to scale. It's not like some offlanes you pick and you're like, oh, he's just being a team player. He's getting the Pipe, the Greaves, the Crimson, and all that. But this is a hero that's getting these single target damage dealing items, Mjolnir, the carry items, and hasn't been able to find an impact on these fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
But things not over just yet. Still plenty of Dota to be played. Both teams down 1 lane of Rax, only a half lane on Vici Gaming side, but it was the melee Rax, so essentially damage has been done mid by Newbee.
And Klink's opting for late Lincolns here. I don't think it's a bad idea. He was thinking about getting an Orchid, but they do have a lot of BKBs on the enemy team, even finding the PL is hard. And Hexes felt like very impactful in all these team fights. The Hex range is massive.
Yep.
He just sits around and gets ready to prep and initiate, and a couple times that's why Klink's had last fight as well before he had to buy back. So Lincoln's maybe the way to turn things around.
Lincolns always feel stronger and more annoying when you have more than one on a team. When there's one, it's like you know who it's on, you know you're going to break it, but once there's 2 or 3, fights can get very chaotic.
Absolutely.
Because you put a Lincolns on a hero right after it breaks or something, and suddenly you are blocking a big spell when previously you knew exactly how to...
Mirana maybe in trouble here. Well, they're going to run, though.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing a
Rhino
forward
goes leaping
scout.
forward, looking for a Yule Scepter, finds it on the Clinks. Is there an arrow to follow up? He times this one perfectly, as Triple C could be the one in some trouble, but instead they're going to go for the Dark Willow first instead. The Aeon Disc not saving his life. Immediate buyback coming out. KP rolling his way on through, trying to get a few heroes here, but the BKB from Ori stopping that Rolling Thunder from stunning him up. It's Moogie on the Bloodseeker, who almost dies to the PL, but he gets saved by the Nightmare. How's Moogie still alive? Once again, Faith has saved his life, only for a little bit longer, though Fenrir did still finish him off. I believe some poison damage. He comes in from behind, and now he's found more. It's Fenrir on the Shadow Demon, the hero support. He's got himself a double kill somehow, and the Dark Willow, who just bought back Kaka, he hasn't got an escape. He uses himself, but he needs another Shadow Realm, and he just doesn't have one. Dead for 100 seconds are two Newbee heroes, and they're without buyback. Straight for the throne go Vici Gaming. They sense victory, and Newbee have to find something here.
And the way they attacked that team fight was so strong. They just swung in.
KP top.
He's going to get his ultimate off, at least buys him a second. He can...
Aeon Disc helps him out. They GG. The throne's being focused. They've got no way to defend it. They have GG. KP's like, wait, what? Why are we GGing? I can defend. But no, it's over. Newbee, they know it.
Wow. Very back and forth team fight, and Vici Gaming finally getting their first victory of the tournament. So that's got to be great. Sitting 1-4 now. They can start turning things around. They're not a bad team. They're just losing a lot of matches, but finally pulling out a solid win. And it definitely just felt like a PL problem. Like there was almost everything was controlled by Newbee that game, but they just couldn't deal with the PL.
Crazy thing is that game actually ends. Newbee have a gold lead. Very slight, less than 1K, but they lost with a gold lead. It really highlights that this game was back and forth. Every single team fight was just so close, so hard to determine who's going to win, and these buybacks being used means you lose that one big team fight at the end. Without buybacks, boom, game over.
And Roche as well. They got a cheese, they kept getting Aegises, and that really made the big difference in some of those last fights. So yeah, Vici Gaming takes the win, and we'll be back in a bit with the next game, guys. Thanks for watching. it feels like it's happening cross region. It's not just like Chinese teams or anything, but there do seem to be some moderate periods of like AFK farming before they make moves again, maybe related to Roche timings, daytime, nighttime, stuff like that. But it's still really exciting games and still seeing some good hero variety, so I'm having a good time.
Yeah. We'll see if Game 2 is something different in store. We already get Shadow Demon first ban, so that's a hero Newbee weren't happy to be versing.
It was huge, actually. It killed all of KP's momentum because they just kept setting up like disruption arrow kills. So the other parts of Mirana were not so good, but the disruption arrow was great.
We'll see what the alternative 5 position supports we're going to get coming out in game number 2. As far as the team's concerned, you think Vici Gaming as a team, I mean, we didn't see any of their games yesterday going 0-4, but do you think they actually look like a team that, should be advancing at least, not in like one of the bottom spots in the group, or are they still looking like a shaky team?
It's a hard question to answer, I guess, because the difference between like a team that goes out first round of TI and like a 10th place team is not much. Like it's the difference between there is it could just be like who do you end up playing Liquid round 1 of loser bracket like that happened last year sometimes to a couple teams. So it's hard to answer. I guess I would assume that Newbee is a top 8 team. I would say Vici Gaming is below that threshold, I would assume.
Do you think Vici Gaming are one of the teams still likely to be eliminated in the groups? Because one team from each group gets eliminated.
Oh, that's true. I always forget about that because there's 9? There's 18 teams, right? So there's 9 in each group. They got to kick one out. Man, that's hard.
They're 1-4 now. I mean, I guess ignoring their record a bit, considering it, but like other team you see getting some more wins at least today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely think they can get some more wins. Honestly, it's so easy.
Who's the worst, Kevin? That's what I want to know.
It's such an easy question. Like the last 7 TIs, honestly, last 7 TIs, you're like, oh, easy. That team, boom, pick on them. But these days, every team is so competitive that even Pain, the ELO adjusted worst team, is still taking wins on people. So it's like it's very difficult to predict before the end.
Some of the teams I think other people thought would be like IG, who managed to get 2 wins. Serenity took a game off both VP and Secret. So, some of these on paper weaker teams have done just fine. Even I saw Windstrike getting some wins today as well.
It's absolutely difficult to predict. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a lot of ties this year as well. You never know.
A lot of reserve time for a ban, but they do end up banning the Shaman.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just because it was the first game they did, but last draft stage felt very slow also.
So
Newbee, these guys may be going.
Newbee were down to 6 seconds of reserve time by like their 3rd pick.
Okay.
Last draft, so they were using a lot of reserve time then as well.
Okay, interesting.
They're a slow drafting team, I guess. Well, I mean, that's not just slow. That's using up too much reserve time almost. It's like
I felt like a lot of other teams they'd be like, oh yeah, these are the 3 heroes, boom, 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 knock them out. Maybe something they plan like way before the draft starts. And not expecting too much variety. But maybe Newbee's trying to adjust based on what their opponents ban. Who knows? But banning out lots of supports in the first phase, the Venge, Shadow Shaman, and the Shadow Demon. They pick Necro, getting a response with an Oracle, which is very effective against Necro, kind of similar to Shadow Demon. You just cast your second skill, Fate's Edict, gives them 100% magic resistance, and makes your ultimate not so good.
And same as Shadow Demon also has a Purge.
That's
so
true.
you can get rid of the Ghost Shroud, which is one of the very annoying things about killing a Necrophage.
Definitely harder at a time because you have to land it after, so he can maybe play around it a bit. But I think it's a good pick. And even if he does use Ghost Shroud, throw some nukes on him. It'll be amplified by like 40% or whatever the heck it's at now. Maybe 30. Can't remember. But Oracle is kind of a fun support in a lot of ways. It's like I really like what they did with the Dispel stuff. Like I think Ice Frog's probably one of my favorite things about how he's been changing the game is adding more weak Dispels, strong Dispels. That way there's, at least for someone like me that likes to know mechanics and like how abilities work, having good knowledge around that while playing an Oracle is just really fun because there's a lot of ways that you can just easily outplay opponents and like super counter what their abilities are. So or it makes a hero like Oracle more okay to just pick first. You don't have to pair with a Huskar or some other hero that has heals. You can actually open it sometimes like this because of the way the Dispels work.
They're going to go back to the Mirana again. I'd say 11 had some good arrows at times, also had some questionable deaths, but had a very high impact, probably mostly from his ultimate. He had some great just invis usage to get his team in and around the map, start some really good fights with it. So.
Yeah, and even if you're landing a short range arrow on a Chainstone follow-up, it's still really beneficial. As long as your opponents don't have a PL or something, or Spectre, is usually where that starts becoming an absolute headache. But Bloodseeker felt effective against Mirana as a whole. The Yule Scepter may be an issue. Not sold on whether or not that was a bad choice, but against a Necro, maybe a very different game.
I don't know if Newbee want to go right into picking 2 cores like a Bloodseeker Necro, but theoretically, their flexible cores can go different lanes. So it doesn't reveal absolutely everything about what you're doing. But
Because the laning against the Mirana was kind of okay, but not great. He felt pressured a lot, but then later it was completely fine. Kind of once he started getting Rupture, he started going around the map really well and rupturing everybody. So
and all his deaths were pretty much Disruption Arrow. You don't have as easy of an arrow step with the Oracle.
yeah, it's a substitute.
yeah.
It's actually interesting sometimes when you think about how similar some heroes are. That like there's all those pairings, right? Like Oracle covers a lot of the things that Shadow Demon did last game, protecting against Necro, and he can set up an arrow combo. It's cool sometimes to think about that. Even though it's like technically a very different hero, it's still some of those same features. It's always fun to describe Dota as like what's the elementary level, you know?
A lot of heroes are just slightly different versions of others, or maybe slightly is a bit too
10
gentle of a
seconds
word.
remaining.
A significant different
Vici
version of each other.
Gaming.
And if you think it's easy to design heroes, guys, you should try playing ability draft sometime. You'll quickly realize that you're terrible at designing heroes. It's not an easy thing to do. So much respect to Ice Frog and the crew. Wraith King making it in this game. Was banned out in the first phase last game, but squeezes through here. And teams are on the same sides. Another thing to remember, Vici on the Radiant, Newbee on Dire. So that means Newbee gave up the ban of Wraith King and ends up making it through anyways. Dead heroes, I guess. Wait, Necrophos isn't technically dead, I don't think. I don't know lore very well. I'm pretty sure he's like eternally alive or something. It's like a poison thing or genetic, biological negative, but...
You're going way too deep into the lore here.
Well, you're not a lore man? Neither am I. I don't know him.
You know, the extent I describe this lamp, it's green heroes. They're going for green. They're all green.
That's fair.
There's no, I don't know the lore. I'll just stick with colors, the simple stuff.
How about those cosmetic, what are they called? Shoot, effects, the visual effects.
10 seconds
Ambient
remaining.
effects. They got lots of ambient effects, dude.
Yep.
Wraith King is
Those green auras around.
smelly,
5 seconds remaining.
visually smelly, and yeah. I'm perplexed looking at Necro. That's what I'm getting from these.
Yeah, the circles around him.
Yes, that's his Heartstopper aura. My heart.
There you go.
It's like 1 every 10 beats, it just like doesn't beat, and you're like, you know, that's going to really add up over time. So the heart attack slightly earlier in life. Spectre bands, Crystal Maiden bands, PL, and a Drow Ranger also banned out.
Drow Mirana, one of the probably better Drow partners to have, so it makes sense.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday too. When they were against a Wraith King, it would have been just the kite, huge kite potential there.
Interesting thing with the Wraith King Necro is we've seen a lot of 3-position Necro. I guess last game was mid, but last time Newbee
5
played it was
seconds
3, but
remaining.
Wraith King's also mostly been 3. So
Yeah.
we could see this as like a 3-4 where Wraith King's played as a 4, or they could just be both cores and then one of them has to be played in another lane.
I don't know if I'm sold on the Wraith King 4 or 5. I don't think I've seen a single team play yet. I just have got to assume that it's not good, because even like the Wraith King 3s sometimes feel inconsistent to me. I would just assume like a Necro 1 or 2, I guess. I mean, it just depends on lanes, really. Like, put them wherever they fit.
Yeah, I would, to expand on that, I would say like Wraith King in a 4 or 5 is particularly shaky, not because of the lack of items, but you lack skeletons. To be impactful in lane and just in general, you need to get those skeleton charges, which you get by last hitting. So if you don't have farm priority, how are you getting those
I've
skeletons?
never even thought of that aspect. Cause, I mean, I don't play Wraith King support often, but definitely that's one of his skills now. That's one of the skills you have to pay attention to.
Yes.
So makes sense as a snag. Another evil-looking hero to fit the Dire team makes a lot of sense. This really does look like a Radiant versus Dire game right now.
Yeah, these peaceful, colorful heroes up top, and evil-looking heroes down bottom. So someone tweeted me, candles have always been in the draft.
No
These candles are not new.
Okay.
Yep. Made me look around more. Like,
It's probably because we were overwhelmed by like all the heroes on the screen. Like there was a lot to look at. Now that feels comfortable, now we're getting a feel for our surroundings.
Yep.
Something like that. Line as a pick, I think, is pretty solid here. It is another way to set up. Pairing any other stuns with Wraith King is always going to make your Wraith King stun far better. Oh no, our animations have broken. Rest in peace, animations. But in combo with that, more damage. Combo with Necrophos. I think it's a good snag here for the Newbee lineup. I like it.
Yep. What do you make of the Earthshaker?
I like it against Wraith King. Fissure blocking. Even if it's not a fissure block, it could just be like, I used fissure in the team fight, and Wraith King's upset about that, because there might be I missed 3 right clicks on a guy because I threw a stun, but now I have to walk around the fissure kind of a thing. So I think Earthshaker works well against Wraith King. If he goes on you, it's not so good, I suppose, but I think it's fine. I don't like the first pick, Earthshaker. Thought that was a mistake yesterday. It was at Secret, I believe. Felt like a liability both games,
twice,
but yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay. Well, Bulls in Vici Gaming's court once again. We'll see what they look to put together here. Seen almost entirely 4-position shaker, no core shakers yet, from what I know of. And means they're looking for 2 more core heroes, since Mirana really can't go any lane. Not really set in stone where it's going to be. Last game was 11. They're kind of 3-position player, and we'll see where it heads this one.
Fissure blocks against the cores of Newbee are also really good, like Wraith King or Necro solo in a lane. They're not the fastest heroes. They are pretty good at fighting to the death, but might have some issues there.
Yep.
Especially Necro, I would think.
So we'll see if they also address the Wraith King reincarnation problem. Like, do they get that Weaver, that PL, that mana burn here? Well, PL banned out, but they could get like a Weaver type hero.
They could do it on Mirana too. I mean, I like a fast diffusal rush is definitely not recommended, but even against Necro, it's not terrible, I guess.
Yep. So we'll see what those last 2 picks are going to be. Looks like, oh, they paused the game. So there was a power loss on Vici Gaming side, which is why we are on camera.
And that's why our animation's paused, maybe.
That's why, yes, the draft is not progressing. I looked down and I was like, okay, we've been theory crafting and talking a lot about, oh, what pick could come out, you know, what's it going to be?
This is a really long 9th second here on the draft.
They have a lot of extra time going out here, but no, there's Vici Gaming have 5-man DC, so there was a pause, SCCC, and they still have a minute and a half, a minute 15 of reserve time. So Vici Gaming being allowed to reconnect.
Surprised he didn't resume. This is a great way to win a game in NTI group stage, man. Just let him make him random heroes.
Some picks, yeah.
Do what you can, man. I'm not that kind of person, but I mean, it is TI. I mean, they got lots of money from winning last year. So
that's one where, you know, there would probably be a remake, because that one is not on the players for DCing. Unlike when Fly and Ortiz picked the wrong heroes, that is on the players. I remember I was talking to Kyle, and he's like, "Well, like, what if?" I'm like, "I probably, you know, like, didn't let them swap or something, but like, they probably picked the wrong hero, meant to swap, and then didn't let them." And he's like, "Well, they should just remade then." And I'm like, "Why? Like, what justification is there to remake, Kyle? Please explain." And he's like, "You know." He doesn't have a reason.
That's one of those players are number one privilege issues that it definitely happens in Dota, at least, that players are like number one, nobody else is number one above them. So,
and he's a guy who always wants to see like the best possible Dota. Like when teams are versing, he wants, you know, the best team to win, and he doesn't want like a team to win because someone's on the wrong hero, but it's their fault. It happened. There's zero fault to be placed on, you know, organizers, admins, or.
And I would also
Valve
say that
one.
as a caster, from my perspective, I find it slightly frustrating when they do that like swap players constantly thing, because it's already very difficult to predict drafts. We're not pro players. And maybe that's our fault to be blamed for. But if they're swapping players constantly until we get through the anime screen, then it's even harder for us to do our jobs, and it's harder for the viewer as well, because they will see that part of the screen. So I'm kind of in favor of them just pick your damn hero. You know, you can maybe delay it until like the last 5 seconds or whatever the timer is, but no funny business, I guess.
Just get rid of swapping altogether in pro games.
That's
if you can't pick your correct hero on your first click, you know, I don't know if you have what it takes to be a pro if you can't, you know, get that kind of mouse precision. It
is a single mouse click, if I am not mistaken. Whenever it's like you have like 5 heroes and you have to pick one of the rectangles, and if you do misclick and there are sometimes changes in teams like where you'd be like, oh no, actually I was going solo offlane, therefore the offlane player would play it versus the core or whatever. So
it's a fluid thing where the decisions could change on the fly. Like someone picks a hero and they're like, wait a second, actually we don't want you on that hero anymore.
Yeah, it might just have to be like a verbal where like, guys, don't swap more than once or something, or something like that. But
can you imagine, like, if they implement that, and some pros won't know about it, so there'll be even more supports playing cores and stuff.
Luckily, it was in the group stage, and luckily they still took a win from it. So,
it was game 2 they actually lost. You know, maybe Fly should have stuck to the carry role. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fun time for sure, and we got to see Kuro playing things.
Yeah,
they just thought it was so good. They're like, we're.
Do you remember what was the hero he used to play carry on with this current Liquid team? Whenever it was some hero, I remember they were asked about it, and it was like, when we picked this, Kuro feels better playing. It was some like very strategic timing-based character. Was it Luna maybe or something?
Maybe. I don't remember.
He played carry for an event when Miracle was out, but
gotcha.
I want to say it was maybe Luna.
Maybe one of those things where you just feel like you have more overview of the game. And I know Liquid has talked about that before, that like late game, it's better for the cores to make decisions because you see how your carry does in each team fight. And that's usually how I make item decisions in games as well. It's like, oh, well, the team fight was easy. I had BKB, or then the next one will be like, man, if I had lifesteal, I would have killed that guy first. And then you think like, maybe I should get a Satanic next. And using things like that is how you better know like, are we stronger than them? Can we take a team fight? How should that influence our map movement? That can absolutely help a lot. So maybe in the case of Luna, it's like the overview's really obvious. Like hit creeps, get level 6, push towers, rotate places.
Yeah.
That could make a lot of sense.
But yeah, we'll wonder if we'll see some more Kuro carry here. Definitely a team and some players have always swapped roles. Matu and Miracle, of course, you know, swapping between mid and safe lane,
Mind
depending on
control.
heroes. Yep.
Mind control's also been a part of that too, playing
Yep.
mid a lot of times. So, but they do have some of the highest MMR players in the whole game, so not
That's
unexpected.
pretty helpful. Yeah, Kuro's the only guy like not in the top 10 or so. He just doesn't play many pubs, as far as I know. I think he probably could be
Believe
in
so.
the top 20 or 30 if he tried.
And when he does, I believe he plays core more than supports, if I'm not mistaken. At least from what I've seen. Not one of those like support only players like Fly.
Yeah.
Until they accidentally pick links in a pro game.
Yeah.
At TI.
Fly's a guy who I've seen tweeting about the role stuff, like basically before they added it, and I think even even after, because that didn't really solve anything for high level pubs because your queue times are too long. But he was tweeting like, "Hey, we need role queue because he only wants to play support." I remember him even tweeting a screenshot when he queued in a game with like 4 or 5 support players on a team, and he's just like, what are we meant to do? We have four pros on
Yeah.
a team, but everyone wants to play support. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that one doesn't work great. Normally, that's as a support player. I don't know if it's the same for you, but you have the privilege of pretty much playing your role every game. If you play 4 and 5, you're pretty much set. But once in a while, you get those games where it's like 4 supports and I have to play mid or something. Usually, it's like off lane carry. I'm a little better, but when I have to play mid, it is not a good sign.
that's when I picked
So.
DK. I'm like, all right, can't lose mid with DK.
Yeah.
Breathe fire.
All right, so we are having a small break. So we'll
Okay.
be back in a little bit while we work out the power issues. And thanks everybody for staying tuned. We'll be back in a second with the draft.
Clinks.
All right, we're back, everybody. We fixed our issues, and we are good to go with the rest of our draft and game number 2 between Vici Gaming and Newbee. As we reconnect in, Vici Gaming have immediately picked a Clinks. Recap the draft for us, Kevin.
Well, we opened up with the Necrophos. Necrophos. There was an Oracle and Mirana response. Got a Wraith King, and then we saw an
10
Earthshaker line.
seconds remaining.
And then what happened was somebody on Vici Gaming's team, they walked over and
5 seconds
kicked the
remaining.
crap out of the power strip until they lost power so that they could have an extra 10 minutes to decide that they wanted to pick Clinks.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You don't see Clinks very often. You need that extra bit of time to understand when it's
Exactly.
going to work.
I mean, they spent a lot of time drafting. In the previous match, they really felt like, the difference maker was that they really elongated things, and this was the only ethical way that they could pull that out in match number 2.
Ethical. Okay.
Ah,
Interesting understanding of
Yeah.
some NA ethical
Yes.
ethics going on there, I guess.
I'm only going to allow that because it's 2018 right now. That's all. 2 years ago, hell no, I'm shutting that down. Weaver is going to be the response. Lots of invis heroes, some minus armor here. Very good hero, I would argue, at killing and dealing with Oracle or Shaker. If I'm an Oracle, I
10
don't want to
seconds
play against a
remaining.
Weaver, but it's going to force him to get probably like a Glimmer Cape, for example.
5
It's going to be the best
seconds
way to keep
remaining.
himself alive.
So
Good at
we're-
laning, too.
Yeah, I think something most likely Mugu's going to be on. He's played this quite a few times and feels pretty comfortable on it overall.
It's like a good mix of like a, I don't know if dead lane hero is the right term, but a hero that kind of sits there and just does kind of whatever he wants. It can be kind of solo, usually kind of farm heavy, will AFK farm, but the other cores are still going to be semi-active between Wraith King and Necro, so it feels like they have a good blend of like getting stuff done, pushing towers, and still farming for the late game win. Although Weaver versus Clinks isn't ideal, I guess, because of Strafe, but Strafe does, it's pretty limited duration, so fighting at the right times will work out for him.
Kind of eventually get a nullifier too if you need to purge off the strafe.
That doesn't work.
He doesn't?
No, because
Oh,
it's a
projectile.
projectile.
Oh, yeah.
You can't
Jesus.
E-blade him. You can't nullifier
Ah.
him. You literally can only use Yule Scepter.
Yules, yeah,
it's
so
like
it's-
it's so broken in
no.
certain situations.
In my head, I'm just like,
Hex-
okay, you're going to purge off strafe, nullifier. And I'm like, wait
yes.
a
Yep.
second.
I've been there, man. That doesn't work. It does not
Necro
work.
3 would work, right? That's the insta purge.
Is that? Yeah, I guess the range dispel is
Yeah.
a non-projectile, or you could get maybe a null or get a Helm of the Dominator
yeah.
maybe and
Yeah.
get a small.
Could be right. I've
Devastator.
seen some Wraith Kings go for the helmet. Dog.
Turn
possibility.
back.
Skellies, man, make them Skellies good.
Yep, maybe. Yeah, that's the thing. It gives them extra regen, extra attack speed. It's just buffing them up.
Have you tried that? I know you do a lot of weird ass item builds in pubs, but
Helm of the
Shadowblade, Helm of the Dominator, Bloodthorn on Wraith King, dude.
Ooh.
That's how you play Dota 2. Play Dota 2.
sounds
Just
fun.
break Invis, throw that stun, drop them Skellies,
Yep.
Bloodthorn the guy, and the Skellies just go crazy.
Newbies,
Oh, dude, I have this
turn to
great
pick.
clip actually, just that tangent on Wraith King a little bit more, where I was watching Slacks play a game, and I was waiting for him to finish so that we could play on stream together, and I caught him like just
Vici
dying to
Games.
skeletons by himself. Like, it was so funny. I gotta
Oh,
go
man.
find it. I laughed for so long, dude.
Okay.
I'll share it with you later. You'll like it, I'm sure. Enigma's going to be the
Enigma.
last pick for Newbee here, so
So, almost always a KP hero, which suggests Enigma off lane, Necro mid, Weaver safe lane, which Wraith King line supports.
so it is going to be Wraith King support, you
10
think?
I-
seconds remaining.
Or Enigma support, I guess, but I've only seen KP play
5
Enigma for
seconds
Newbee,
remaining.
but
If-
that could change.
If it's Enigma support,
Now
it would have
select
to be
your
like a
heroes.
safe lane Necro, safe lane Weaver solo, something like that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that would make sense.
KP picks up Enigma, and Faith picks 5 position Wraith King potentially.
Okay, so this will be our first support Wraith King that we get to
Yeah.
get to check out. We'll see how this works out. I mean, maybe the thought is like Wraith King versus Clink's going to be a bad time, so we don't necessarily want to put on a core position. If it's a 5 though, then it's not bad against Void, I would argue. Where he won't die twice
Sure.
in a chrono, won't die in once there is not a bad trade for a support Wraith King, but yeah, kind of interesting to see how this goes. Interested to see how this goes for the 5 Wraith King.
As for the Void pick, that's good synergy with Mirana with the arrows, good synergy with Clinks, even Shaker. It's kind of can be a setup for, or at least you can drop a feature in there to kind of follow it up. I like this pick.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree. It's really solid how synergistic it is. It's like one of those like last minute gotcha moments where it's like the perfect Void game.
Yep.
And they were looking for a carry anyways. So yeah, really solid snag here.
Also, I always like when teams have a way to disable Enigma during BKB Black Hole. If you can't stop a BKB Black Hole, it just feels like, well, there's an insta kill on a carry or a mid. Or somebody's dying during that.
Same against Weaver. It's just so good against Weaver too. Like a guy that you can just kill him before he time lapses. It makes so much sense. So, but the downside is that can Paparazzi on the Face of Void have a good laning stage, and that might be harder because typically your Void's in the safe lane. It's going to be against Enigma. Maybe they'll find a lane that works out for him, but maybe he'll be shut down as well by Enigma's demonic conversion.
All right, here we go. We're going to load into the game as Newbee suffered defeat in game number 1. They had a good day 1 and looking to continue that, not streak anymore on day number 2. They were 3-1 and have started today off with a loss. Vici Gaming have their first win of the group stage. 1 win, 4 losses. But yesterday can be forgotten if they start pulling together a string of wins. Still plenty of Dota to be played, and even a potential winner bracket run could be achievable for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting lanes seems to be a little bit hard to predict here. But on Newbee's side, it looks like some mind games going on. Maybe even KP in the mid lane. And that's why he's got 2 share tangos. So anticipating a mid Enigma pick, actually. I kind of like the Basie start. This is an item that I've tried out a little bit with Enigma. It's really good right now just because he's got pretty decent int. It's a lot of mana regen. Throw some clarities on top of that and some shared tangos. And he's actually getting a lot of regen. Plus giving armor to the Eidolons as well is nice so that they don't get last hit as often.
All right, we'll have a quick reconnect from Shaker. They did a power outage or reconnection, so I imagine maybe some settings or hotkey stuff that sometimes you have to actually reconnect to Dota games to fix. So nothing serious. He's right back in. He's right back, ready to go, as are we here at the casting desk, and it will be, something slightly different. The Necro is going to the offlane, as we've been seeing, but played by SCCC, and KP's mid Enigma with the Bassering you were talking about, going to be going up against the Clinks. So not wanting to run Clinks, the Necro against Clinks, which is surprising because we saw Necro destroy Clinks mid last game, and Ori's like, let me play the other side of that matchup. I'm ready to dumpster you again as CCC.
Maybe, but in the same vein, maybe they'd work out really well against the Mirana, perhaps. Somebody that can sustain there. As an overall match win. And then Weaver versus Void. Void's going to get farm, but I would argue that heroes like Clinks are scarier if they have a really good early game than somebody like a Void. Great Fissure
arrow. Yeah, they're going to get some right clicks. The Fissure, I believe, has blocked off his high ground path as well. The stun's going to stop 11 getting some right clicks off, and with SCCC showing up with the Death Pulse, that's going to heal up Kaka a little bit, and the body blocks land him in a lot of trouble here. There's another stun in a couple of seconds here. He should be able to get the kill, but he actually goes for a right click and doesn't really follow him up. Another Impale in a second. And doesn't really have an out. He goes for a Fissure, won't get it off, and gives up first blood to the Necro.
Oh, give me those 4 fantasy points, SCCC. Thank you.
Oh,
ooh, that feels good.
I'm on board with that, too. That's
hell yeah.
That's the play.
So now back to the regular game. That's going to be a great start. Fast boots for him means it's even better to lane against the Mirana, because normally he's a very, very slow hero, or maybe goes bonus damage, we'll see.
Yep.
I imagine KP's going to do relatively fine mid, but it's definitely going to take a lot of damage from these Clinks right clicks, and considering he had 2 shared tangos to start this off and no other regen past that, might be a little out-harassed.
These other lanes, the Enigma versus Clinks in mid. A lot of harass being traded initially. Clinks is going to get denied quite a bit from the conversion on all these range creeps, just taking away whatever XP you can. Top lane, bit of an interesting dual lane. Wraith King with Weaver, but hey, 5-position Wraith King, why not? And Void with Oracle, looking to just be kind of defensive farming lane. They've got a sentry there for the Weaver, and as soon as they push the lane out, they look to de-sentry. And hey, I've made you miss another kill. It's Fissure into a Clinks kill mid.
Yeah, and that's the dangerous thing about putting Enigma here, is that he can't defend himself super easily. Even like Malefice is a really long cooldown, so if you used it previously, very likely that he goes down. So we'll strafe and right click, and that's the benefit of the boot start on Earthshaker, is that he can get from these lanes so much quicker, and that your opponents might not actually realize that he's all the way into your lane already.
Yeah, don't normally expect those early support rotations. It's just not really what you see so much on this patch and this meta.
Yep.
But a hero like Shaker always loves to move around the map, and Mirana having a rough time down bottom, but at least getting a few CS here and there and able to use that arrow to get some extra farm in the jungle, although Kaka does make sure he splits the XP.
Yep. He'll find a DD rune in the bot lane. Clinks is going to want that one most likely just because tons of bonus damage that'll guarantee his lane win. But with that said, with Kaka rotating over, Earthshaker's forced to take that. I don't think that's ultimately terrible for Ori, because he's probably going to want to stay in the lane anyways.
Yeah, he would have missed a couple CS and even got denied a few if he went all out for it. Going for the straight play, wanting to harass KP a bit here.
It's taking a little bit too much Eidolon damage sometimes. He will get another one killed, but I mean, all this damage is still coming through to Clinks a lot, and the Eidolons are making it work. Caught that one totally dead. Death. Necrophos. Looked like Arrow, Starstorm. Still no leap levels at level 3 for Mirana, but in the right circumstances, is the way to go. I mean, that's probably how they can beat him. Just do way more magic damage than he expected.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting the 2-1-0 build whatsoever. As we'll see, we'll TP right back down the lane. Not the end of the world for him. He is still top of the CS. 3 top CS leaders all initially on the Dire side, with Void even with Weaver at least.
And more Sentry games coming through. Fenrir.
Mid lane, Ori, ooh, almost actually dies here on the Clinks. He mangoes to get the strafe off.
Might die.
He's barely going to get the salve, and he's chasing with these Eidolons. They're 310 movement speed. They actually out speed the
I feel like
Clinks.
KP could have gotten that kill maybe if he committed with his hero right click, but
Yeah.
hesitate a little. Maybe didn't expect strafe.
He's going back in once more. Okay, not going to go for the kill. But this Malefice Eidolon harass is putting Ori under a lot of pressure.
But Lanham's here now, looking for the fissure block, of course, and miss-microing a little bit for KP, or Eidolon's just sitting passively. He's going to die for sure here.
Yeah.
Does get his buyout before he goes down at least, but yeah, these little Earthshaker rotations are really paying off here.
Yeah, and not like Mirana's having a miserable time down bottom. Was involved in the 1 kill, has 12 CS, has had the creep wave under the tower for a little bit now, so 11 is at least getting something out of this lane, although he is currently probably going to have to TP back home or somehow find a way to get some regen out to lane.
Yeah. And either way, they're still limiting what Clinks can get. 15-1 versus a 17-15 for KP, which is going to translate to a lot of levels, actually. He's about a half level ahead of where Clinks is at, and getting creeps behind the tower like this is just super simple for him to secure what he needs. Mugi's also sacrificing a little. 18-3 is still really good, though. And Faith picking up levels also. He's gone for the double magic stick. Interesting. I'm just kidding. That's Mugi's magic stick, actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Mugi bought 2 magic sticks is what we have here.
Oh. Maybe he bought one at the base and was hoping the Wraith King would bring it out to the lane. Who knows? They're going to go in for a little bit of a clash here. Oracle gets crit to the face.
That was a cool crit.
It's very satisfying when you kill people with a crit with that sword cosmetic.
I mean, it's a lot of damage. 1 skill point, when you do actually land it, it's a big damage output. So I bet it was one of those, like, I bought a wand things and I had it queued up, so I accidentally bought it twice because I put it on a guy, which meant that it disappeared from my auto queue or something.
Yep.
That's probably what happens. We actually lose 100 gold. Not super instrumental, but small mistake. Kako rotating around mid, maybe looking to set up. KP's got 6 here, so this is a great way to do it. And Clinks is only level 4. He also doesn't have Invis. So in a normal circumstance, this is a pretty hard gank to make without a Sentry detection, but they can definitely do it here. He's got a Soul Ring now, and here comes the initiation.
Yep. Impale starts things off. KP just instantly goes for the black hole, but gets cancelled by the fissure. The rotation was there. Ori's already used the strafe, though. So with the Malefice and the Eidolons, okay, they kind of block each other a little bit.
I feel like with good micro there with the Eidolons, KP could have grabbed that kill, but
it's definitely not easy, but like the same way like your hero when you attack and then you move like you attack wall, you kind of need to do that with Eidolons a bit.
Exactly.
To maximize their damage output.
Paparazzi already leaping, very likely to die here.
He's got a Sal, but he will not get a chance to use it, maybe with the help of the Oracle. Okay, Oracle helps get the beetle off him, and that's actually going to keep him alive.
Running out of chase damage there. No, I was expecting a Geminate attack that didn't come through, already used.
Yep.
And one of the weaknesses of Wraith King support, you've got a stun, and you maybe have a right click or 2, but that's pretty much it. It doesn't go much farther.
Overall, pretty happy Vici Gaming side, I imagine, considering Ori doesn't actually die in the mid lane, and that first black hole being used is suddenly
It's true.
nice bit of breathing room for the Clinks. You can't really be killed.
I mean, he didn't die, but he's still not close to level 6 here.
That's
KP's
true.
almost 7 now, so if I feel like if KP plays this lane really well, this is like a complete stomp here. And it's still pretty one-sided, but like he should have had probably 1-2 more kills, maybe 1 less death here.
It's
and then
one-sided in terms
zone.
of XP, but the actual gold between the two is very similar. There isn't much separating their actual net worth.
Okay, that's
because
a good
of
point.
the deaths on the Enigma, and Clinks actually got the last hit for both kills.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that does make a big difference. But, you know, levels are gold in some ways. More resources, more damage, things
Bottom
like
lane,
that. So.
Heads Triple C turning around the gank attempt here. He's got the Reaper, not yet. He's level 5 still. He's looking to bring down Lanham. Death Pulse is going to chase him down, but there's going to be an Oracle showing up with the Fate's Edict to make sure that he can keep him alive. Necro is still very tanky.
He's got an arrow now, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
has Mango's one charges. He pops the Ghost Shroud with a Tango and Mango, and he's still alive.
Yeah, makes I'll go a little farther here. So, kind of curious what Enigma's going to go next. What do you think's the current ideal build on Enigma? Are you on the Midas train, the Helm of the Dominator? What do you think's best right now?
I like the Helm of the Dominator, but I don't know if being mid changed anything. I don't think it really does.
He does pick up the headdress, so I think he's
Okay.
going to be on the same page as you.
Yeah, Helm of the Dominator into Blink BKB.
Okay.
Is what I feel is just standard, strong, hard to deal with.
And he's got a Wraith King on his team. Got to make them Skellies attack, dude.
Ooh, yeah.
Faith doesn't get a lot of attack. I haven't seen him gotten a single Mortal Strike.
I thought you were
pick
going
up yet,
somewhere
but-
else with the Wraith King, because Ag's Wraith King, you die as Enigma, then you Black Hole.
You
They
can still
can't
be
cancel
stunned.
it. Oh,
You can still be stunned. Yes.
Okay.
That you can still like cast disables and nukes and stuff and right click. I don't know
Wraith?
if you can right click, but
You can actually stun the Wraith.
I'm
Okay.
quite sure that you can stun the Wraith.
I had no idea of that, actually. I just assumed they were like untargetable by anything.
I think you can. At minimum ground target, but I think you can actively target them.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'd be kind of broken for some heroes.
But you can't target things like the Vengeful Spirit.
Correct. Yeah, because that's like not. It's not like. It's just different, I guess.
Yeah.
Similar but different.
Okay.
That's
Dota
another
2.
type of ghost. It's a ghost thingy, but it's not a tangible ghost thingy.
So the Wraith mechanic in Dota is not very consistent, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely true. But every ability is different. Caught another amazing kill on the bot lane. That one was a Reaper's Scythe. Fenrir going down, not able to Fate's Edict there. So it looked like Impale into a Death Pulse Scythe. And that means tower pressure here.
Yep. And the top lane is not being pressured the other way, and this is partly because you've got a Void, just a hero that isn't going to pressure lanes.
Yep.
Hero that's just going to kind of farm, maybe play around the Chrono a bit, but even if he's using Chrono, it's not really often to take towers, it's just to get a kill or two. But Chrono into Arrow could be what BG Gaming want to do up top, but unfortunately for them, an Observer Ward has scouted out the Mirana in this vicinity. Bottom lane being defended.
Is SC in trouble, actually. Used Ghost Shroud just in time, though.
Yep. After the Fortune's End, so
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
taking damage from the Clinks. Here comes the Void.
Great Chrono.
Yep, TP'd in the Shrine, comes in at the perfect time as Triple C goes down. They want Kaka as well. Impale is there, though, to buy him some time. It's not going to be enough. There's an Earthshaker Fissure if they need it. They don't. And Fenrir actually gets both kills. Fenrir, my man, give me those points.
Right before Bounty runs 2. Will the Levin grab one? It looks like he's got a ditch, yeah. Would be grabbing one. So they'll go 2 and 2 on bounties, but that's a really good rotation from Paparazzi. Was he the first to TP2? No, he's the second, right? He teleported like Shrine or something, then came in for the Chrono, something like that. It was just really good ulti. Oh, we got that one. All right, Earthshaker on the mid lane looking like he's still going to die. Just a simple zoning Chrono.
Oh, well, KP getting the kill. Well played. Didn't make any misplays
KP
there.
is such a good player, but man, he looks a little sloppy on the Enigma today. That's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing here.
And it's not a hero he's just been thrown on. He's played this one before. But,
Okay.
you know,
But mid
first series of the day.
mid is maybe hard.
Yes.
You know, and it's TI. There are going to be nerfs.
Midnight
absolutely.
Shadow being used, they want to go in, but it was scouted, I believe, by the
Caught
Lion.
this, yeah.
He's trying to juke the arrow. He's dodging left, right, juking the arrow that is not coming, at least not yet. And then charging forward, has an Echo Slam, but will not find any good targets to use it on.
Looking for those no blink free echoes that he can get set up from his teammates. But even if no fight happens here, there's still some downtime. I mean, ultimately, the scary thing about Void is that whenever he's got Chronosphere, he should be able to set up a really big kill. Take some time to do that for now. So even if they just get a little passive for now, as long as their lanes are going okay, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and it is very passive, because when that Chrono's down, it feels like you're fully 4v5. Bottom lane, Oracle gets fingered. Numo top, a bit of a flash going as Ori wants to chase down Faith, who's not level 6. He's close, but not quite there. He does not want to go for a TP. The Shaker will almost certainly cancel it unless he fishes on the wrong side, and then, hey, yeah, you do go for a TP.
Okay.
I think he felt like because of the fog there, it could have been problematic. Bottom lane, meanwhile,
Caught another kill.
Paparazzi using
How does
that.
he even get that?
He had some help in time dilation.
No, but that was Paparazzi killing Kaka, though. That was like a Void without Chrono killing Kaka. That's why I'm very confused here. Okay, he does stay alive. Chrono comes out. Not the best one, but they do have TP
Arrow.
support coming.
Starstorm going to hit twice, and that's a dead Weaver. Mugi did not have the health to survive that one. Luckily for us, we'll see. He's going to go shot TP. No cancel.
I mean, he must have used time dilation. Like maybe, perhaps the line uses abilities on Void. Void time walks some of the damage. Uses time dilation, perhaps. So it does slow by a lot. It's 14% per spell cast. So maybe
Get some bash RNG maybe.
oh, and use on cooldown for Finger of Death because used on the Oracle. So it's probably something like that. Just a super slow and right clicks.
And he's getting Tornado. KP coming in with the Helm of the Dominator. Gonna bring him down. Not the ideal creep, not terrible with the bonus 3 armor.
That's pretty good. 5 armor with the Basilius plus this and HP regen. So should be buildings dying a lot more often now.
Yep. Coming to pressure this top lane. Faith on Wraith King. About to hit level 6. This last range creep, is it going to be enough? Not quite.
Just got to deny some Eidolons or something.
Tower last hit.
Radiant's top tower.
Towers still give a
picks it up.
tiny amount of XP, right? Don't they give like some random tiny little amount, like 50 XP?
Can't remember. I would assume no.
It
feels like one of those things they'd remove for consistency reasons because they were trying to make tower pushing worse, you know?
Yeah. I feel like for some reason I thought they gave a smidgen.
Definitely looking to dive the top tower. This is a pretty early pressure around tier 2 top, actually.
Oh, that is a value death pact on the Helm of the Dominator creep. You should not go Helm of the Dominator against Clinks, maybe.
That's a good point, yeah. 200 gold, and it's got a, I don't know if it gets bonus HP or not, but it...
I mean, yeah, it's a super value.
Minimum of 1,500? Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
the thing.
really good ulti.
That is the dream creep to be death pacting.
Yes, maybe a big mistake to go the Helm.
I mean, it is a very long cooldown on death pack, but still. You go hunt down that creep when impossible. They're diving in this top lane. They really want to take a fight here. They've gone initially on Fenrir, who has got the false promise here. We'll see if he uses on himself. No, he's going to use on Lanham on the Shaker. Give away his own life knowing that he's going down here. The Wraith King catches the arrow, but he's got Reincarnation if he wants to skill it. They're going to go for a straight up Black Hole on the Mirana. No leap away for you. Reaper as well for you. All the ultis being dumped on 11.
That's good. The threat of the Black Hole, they got him there.
Yep.
I mean, in the meantime, Paparazzi is auto-attacking creeps, but...
has to be. He doesn't have Chrono. Yeah. This is 5 seconds away, which is, you know, just 5 seconds too long before he could actually contribute.
This is a huge tower to get. This is what, like we saw in the last game, almost never do we see people even damage this tower in an early part of the game, but looking a little scary for
They
Newbee
lost
now.
Paparazzi bottom. He got fingered. They do defend the top lane, but that's fine for Newbee. They don't take the tier 2, which would have been really nice, but...
Is it really better? I mean, killing the carry is fantastic, obviously. They lose the support. He doesn't waste his ulti, but... I don't know, that's like one of those moments where I felt like Newbee was on a roll. They still... Oh, they did already use Black Hole.
They
All right,
lost
it's
the
worth
support.
it then.
It's the support for a Void. That's definitely fine to me.
Okay. I just feel like if they stuck around, they probably could have gotten the tower, but maybe it's just safer to guarantee the
I think
Paparazzi
the
kill.
dangerous thing is with the respawning Vici Gaming Heroes is Void could have TP'd in and taken a fight top, or he's just trading the tier 2 for a tier 1. And yeah, tier 2 is better, but Void is still like feeling okay about the game.
Gotcha.
But as it stands, Void goes down. Paparazzi, Shadowblade queued up next. We'll see what Vici Gaming look to do now that Chrono is online. KP has to hide this.
This is the play. You just let it take a lot of damage. That way when he ultis it, he's like, do I really want to use that? Get it low, then it doesn't feel as good.
Often Clinks will just, wow, he echo slams that Helm creep. I don't mind that at all. He also killed 6 Eidolons, it looked like, so.
I mean, Lanham got maybe, I don't know, 200-300 gold out of it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not too worried. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to use Echo Slam early on as a support without Blink Dagger, so.
How often, do you see a good Echo Slam in the first 15-20 minutes of the game?
But, I don't know. It was a bunch of Eidolons. That doesn't feel great to me. There's maybe some gold. It wasn't that much though. There was like 6 tops. Like that's like a creep wave that he basically echo slammed equivalent. I'm not. It's okay, but
not value is what I'm hearing.
It's close. But
or he walked into a dust, gets hit by an impale, but doesn't look like they want to follow it up. He's very.
They're doing the right thing.
Very tanky if he has Death Pack, but he actually hasn't used it just yet.
That's where things get scary. Is they gonna go for the Chrono?
Void's showing up, and they do not have Black Hole. So Void charging in forward. Can he find that 2-man Black Hole? Are they split up enough? He finds just KP. Follow-up arrow should land. KP should not have a good escape out of this one. There's no real save for him.
Echo slam them.
Ooh, yeah, he wishes. Buyback coming in from KP. They really want to take this fight. Faith is just charging forward. The Reaper comes out, brings down Oracle. What more can Newbee find? With the buyback from Enigma, you got to imagine they're not happy just with the 1 kill. They're hoping for more, and without leap charges, 11 should be in some trouble here, but the Fissure buying him some time. Until a Blink S-Triple-C actually going to catch the Void. He does have Time Warp, but he's being chain stunned here. The Malefice at the end to finish him off. KP making his buyback well worth it.
It looked so good for them, but yeah, the great opportunity to buy back. This is one of those moments where he takes a Chronosphere and the arrow follow-up. If he dies, it's okay. Just get back in the fight and back up your team. He even gets a Boots of Travel.
Yeah, did he? I wonder if he bought that after the buyback or before. I was like, where did his money go? He had 2K gold for his Blink, and it disappeared. Yeah, Boots of Travel.
Yeah, I guess that's why he bought back and then bought Boots of Travel to get here faster, basically.
That sounds quite probable, because I don't imagine he would have wanted or needed Boots of Travel otherwise. And with Chrono down, I think they just know they could go higher ground. They take a tier 3 tower, 17 minutes in, Newbee.
Use Echo Slam.
Wasting any time.
Oh man, he's got to be regretting this so bad. He could have echoed and killed the Weaver for sure, maybe getting a follow-up kill, but none of that happened. They just couldn't quite win the fight.
Now there's no Echo, no Chrono, no Moonlight Shadow. Things are just in an awkward place for them. Faith needs to be careful. Does have just enough mana for the reincarnation right now. And he's just looking to use it as, there we go. Gets taken up by Purifying Flames. Slows 3 heroes here. Goes immediately charging back in to stun up the Mirana. They were trying to finish off this melee Rax. That'd be a really nice pickup this early on in the game. They're going to get a finger kill on Paparazzi. They do lose one here. The Black Hole, a smidgen too late to save the life of Paparazzi, who is going to buy back immediately and goes charging in. No Chronosphere, and Newbee forced to disengage. Did not get the melee racks, but they did get a couple of buybacks out of this one. Unfortunately, they may lose more lives here. SCCC doesn't have Blink for a few seconds here. Line goes down to the Stray, as does the Wraith King here. Newbee are just throwing lives away to protect SCCC, who's going for the TP out. No. Oh, he had the Echo Slam. Didn't get close enough.
So they finally do get some kills, and this is definitely one of those moments where range barracks would have been superior. But
Yeah.
it felt like it was good for them, but so many buybacks just made that tough.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Got to learn from the opening aim, and they always go range barrack first, every single time. Super early, like kind of surprise rushes or surprise pushes into racks like this are probably by far safer than committing to what they did there. Because now all of that doesn't matter. Like it's unlikely that they're going to be on the top racks again in the next bit of time. So
even just taking the tier 3 and falling back to Shrine. Like, I would almost value the Shrine over the range racks.
yeah,
Because you can secure roads a whole lot easier. It just takes it away. We'll lose KP down bottom. He gets picked off by himself. There's a counter kill coming out from Necro. Gets the Reaper onto Fenrir.
SC will be happy about that one for sure. Almost got his Ags finished. He's already got the Blink Dagger. Skipped a Hood this game. Normally we do see that out of heroes, but there's really not that much magic this game. Just pretty much Mirana, Starstorm, Arrow kind of stuff.
Yep.
Faith could get caught over here, kind of looking for enemy heroes. Not going to find any. No sentry down just yet.
Doesn't have ulti here. They know it. They're going to go in to take the free kill. Nice, even dodging the Impale from the line.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. But there's the weakness of 5 position Wraithing. But so far, I would say it's working quite well. Would you?
Yeah, I think it's totally okay here. No issues with it. It's just a good hero to just be in the front lines and spam your stun, and always save enough mana for your reincarnation.
Blink Dagger on Kaka, so he's happy. Ori's finished Maelstrom a long time ago, got a Blink Dagger. I feel like the BOTs on Enigma's really hurting him now too. Like if they get the range barracks and he buys BOTs, totally fine.
Yeah.
But now he's just got this like, it's just way too easy to kill against the Clinks there. If he had like a Buckler or a mech or something, or even a Blink Dagger maybe, get Malefice, dodge a bin, Blink, perhaps.
Blinks on both sides for positions, both Lanham and Kaka having the blinks though, so we have a death trap up top. They're waiting for somebody on the Vici Gaming side. A Newbee hero does show up. They could be in for some trouble here. It's KP. There's a Helm to Dominate, some Eidolons. Echo it again. Lanham, you know you want to.
He's thinking about it.
Ooh.
They're in range, go!
Ooh, KP, he's nearby. They see him. He's going to go for the Echo. Gets the Eidolons and the Helm. That hashtag efficiency.
That one was better.
Lanham placed it. He knew. I could get the creeps and the hero.
Yeah, that was just a great echo. And they didn't have to use Chronosphere for it. That was super good.
The gold change on the graph, I don't think shows the helm creeps either. Yeah. It only is the hero changes. 5/11.
Definitely see that.
His woes from last game continue.
Do you ever play Line? It pings me when I get an ulti. Like I get an ulti kill with Finger of Death, and like shortly after I get level 12. Because then the cooldown would have been like 60 seconds less.
Yeah, that's such a big
stuff.
change. Yeah.
It is a great ultimate though. Very, very good. Still, either way, still very good 1-point skill. Kaka in a little bit of danger here. That was a lot. Plus 90 damage. That's right. Okay. Oh, he's going to get it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of revealed the fact he warded. I think he realized, well, my ward's being revealed. May as well kill this courier.
Absolutely. It's 175 gold per player on your team, so let him get the D ward. No big deal.
Yep.
And it could have been another place, arguably, too. You never know.
Oh, I think the Clinks kind of ran into him and saw him ward, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But,
yeah.
well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe not. sometimes those things happen and the player actually just had their monitor screen somewhere else.
Oh, Enigma has finally sold his 2 teleport scrolls in his backpack. A little loss of efficiency, but he's got Blink Dagger, so still sitting in a relatively good spot. Assume he's going to go GPM at 15 maybe over cooldown. Usually that's the case when you skip Midas, but they're wrapping around trying to collect on these guys. They'll spot him. Yep, there's a Blink Hex.
They don't get Paparazzi, though. He's actually going to turn on Chrono, go for these kills. He should be able to bring down the Lion inside this one. Faith is there with a stun. KP.
Is he going to blink out? He's got out.
Oh my gosh, Paparazzi's invis here. They're all out. Lanham gets out as well. What a disaster for them.
Phase Sentry was placed really well there. Spots both the Morana invis, but also where he expected the Earthshaker to be, so he might have gotten himself vision with detection and maybe get a stun off, but didn't quite work out.
Can they do something while Chrono's down? It looks like they kind of want to push top, but bottom lane, Ori's getting tier 2 tower by himself. Roshan maybe instead.
Just more value coming out of the map for Vici right now.
11 gets rooted here. Lanham blinks in, doesn't have Echo, and they're going to be able to bring down KP anyways with Paparazzi following it up. He doesn't need his Chrono. 11's being saved by the false promise for now. Should be a few more heals coming his way. It's going to be close here. SCCC has the Reaper. Is he? Oh my god, he's just going to use on 11. You madman, but he gets blocked
healed.
the damage. He gets the Fate's Edict off, and 11 survives it. Yeah.
This is pretty bad for Newbee now. I mean, they're
Arrow, perfectly timed.
just very easy to kill him twice there in that kind of a circumstance. He doesn't have Blink yet either because he's a support, so not able to make anything happen on this ultimate. The aggressive Blink and Fissures have been changing this game in a big way. Newbee feels like they can go in and score these kills, but the Fissures are interrupting these chain combos, and they're just not able to secure what they think they should be able to.
This is the, to me, signature Lanham hero, and he is really showing off on it with his impact on the game with great well-timed fissures, just overall great play.
Except for that one Echo Slam. But I can't...
Gonna go for another one here mid, maybe. Yep, he's got a Mirana to back him up. The arrow's there, 5 seconds. Oh, he leaps into the Starstorm here. He gets the Hex here. Lanham needs to finish off the kill, and he'll do so. Doesn't need 11 to do it. Gets SCCC.
Yeah, that was a hard one to do. Kaka could only disable one more. He's like, ugh, which one's really worse?
Yeah. Mirana with the leap, probably the right choice.
Yeah, she had Starstorm as well. That absolutely would have been a quicker kill. But still, they're making so much happen out of just a couple heroes. The Void, despite him spending a lot of time farming and not being the greatest on net worth, him plus Earthshaker with a relatively fast blink has actually made such a big difference. Those two guys have just been a crazy kill combo across the map. And Newbee hasn't been able to turn out the same thing, despite also having blink daggers.
Just really great defensive plays. Even heroes like the Oracle we've seen. I mean, that fight saves the Mirana, and then as the ulti is about to erupt, the Reaper comes out. I think it was actually timed fine by SCCC, timed so the ulti was gone, but hey, there's still a Fate's Edict, 0 damage dealt.
Yeah, that's a really nice play. And I can't help but think of where Newbee was and when they were on the top racks. They had this crazy momentum advantage from getting that buyback team fight. They went for the melee barracks, fully healed now. Could have been a dead range barracks, could have backed off. And then all of a sudden KP's dying more often by having a Boots of Travel that doesn't give him the same survivability, doesn't give him the same utility. And that stuff is really hurting him. Even once he gets BKB, I'm still worried for him because he can still get Chronosphered. He can still get right-clicked down by Clinks quite easily. There's a lot of Maelstroms in the game, so maybe Magic Immunity is strong, but there's definitely some signs of weakness with the way Newbee's played in the last 10 minutes.
The prize is mine.
See smoke from them. They want to make the next play themselves. Once again, it feels like they're happy the aggressors, but when they're going to find an Oracle? Ideal find, but it's still a Reaper kill. Korea gets sniped by Ori. Is a black hole. Do they go for this one? KP's pinging where he is. He got the Malefice off, but did not.
Oh, they re-see him. They re-see him. They're sentry that's down, but they're so far away.
He's going to TP. He's likely to TP out in the trees here. Is there going to be a blink out the Boots of Travel? Nope, KP.
It's too hard. Still Malefice cooldown, even if he did find him there.
He had to go for like an instant blind blink black hole, which would have been a bit
really
crazy.
Really hard to do.
Paparazzi gets a DD room bottle, thanks to 11 passing over and sharing his bottle. Yeah,
he's gone BKB and both damage talents this game, so just trying to do as much as he can with right clicks. I think it's a good choice. He's still queuing up the Ags, still also a good option considering how good Chronosphere is against heroes like Weaver. But
I personally do not like the time lock damage.
Yeah.
It's 25% time lock. So it's really a plus 25 damage talent, and it's magic damage. So it's not even really plus 25 damage.
Yeah, it's approximately as good as the level 10 one. Absolutely.
It's kind of, yeah, it's basically a repeat talent from level 10.
Yeah, and so if they BKB, it's certainly kind of crappy. But in the same vein, if you don't need the health doesn't give you damage unless
That's
you're talking
true.
about surviving through things. So, and if he's got BKB and he uses it correctly, I think it's absolutely more than enough survivable. I think it's an okay game. I think he's making the right choices. Like Paparazzi generally, I find makes really good mechanics and like efficiency option choices.
Here we go, Vici Gaming feeling like it's their turn to play Dota. They've smoked up. They're the ones going on the aggressive. They scout things out with the Skeleton Walk on Clinks. They've got an arrow that's going to find KP in the trees. No chance to use anything. Faith in some trouble as well. Ori's there with the BKB Clinks. He takes down Lion first, goes for the second kill now on the Wraith King, and that's going to be 3 kills in total for Vici Gaming.
So we're in the part of the game where this is a huge liability to have Wraith King here. I've rarely seen any skeletons get procced. Maybe him jungling would be worthwhile at some point, but Vici Gaming just has a really big advantage now. Part of that was they didn't have an observer ward set up. They didn't have a sentry either. They were basically waiting to break smokes, but the one guy that was giving them vision ditched a little early, and then Old 11, great guess on the arrow, guarantees the kill on KP there.
Get the Marochan. They had the DD room for that. They still have a DD room for a little bit longer, and a Chronosphere. Paparazzi finds anyone, I feel like he's just going to be ready to chrono right now.
Absolutely.
Any core hero might make an appearance.
Fortunately for him, they killed too many of their opponents, so it's going to be hard to find them all.
Yep.
So they're still respawning.
Try and press forward. They've got good vision in both mid and top lane. They're playing around this mid observer board. Paparazzi in the trees, maybe hoping somebody pokes their nose out. It could be Kaka. He's got a gem. He just bought this gem and he's charging forward. Kaka, are you insane? Answer's yes.
Man, Newbee has got to be tilted right now.
That's not a play you'd normally expect from Kaka.
Why he walked right past an observer ward too. What is this? He actually walked like this, right?
True. Or, I mean, may have come from the other. I didn't see which route he came from, but yeah, he
Okay,
walked
so
past.
maybe he did run to the north side, I guess. But man, so costly. Now look at this. There's all these wards in all of their business,
Dire's top tower.
and now it's so hard for them to even enter their jungle. That was such a costly loss of the gem.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Unfortunate. Because, yeah, they find themselves without any map control, up against an Aegis, up against all these fresh BKBs, both Void and Clinks having a BKB. Makes it very difficult for them to fight. Faith, he's called out 5 seconds before he has Reincarnation. It looks like he should be okay here. They're going to go charging forward for this kill.
Just in
They
time.
have an arrow, I believe. Can they time it? Yep, they will. And that should be a dead Wraith King. Paparazzi's just, you know, he's going to go time walking and look for a chrono. That's a attempted finger kill. He's not even going to die. He's even got an Aegis, so even if they don't save him, it's not a big problem. He goes forward with the BKB. Shaker, he's fine. He's ready to drop. He doesn't actually go where he wanted to. He gets the Echo Slam now out on SCCC here. The buyback coming out from Wraith King. He's just going to die a second time at this rate. Paparazzi slows him with the time dilation. Needs to be careful. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Arrow's going to land, though. SCCC. He's done for on the Necro. He's got buyback as well. Mugi needs to get out of this one. There is a gem on the Shaker. It looks like they're going to be forced to back off. TP in from Lion straight to the Shrine. Lanham tries him with a totem, doesn't succeed, and instantly dead is Kaka. What is going on here? As Newbee just throwing away lives, it seems, and getting blocked off by the fissure. They can't even chase any further.
Oh man, Newbee they are just doing what they can, but they're just making mistake after mistake here. Trying to take team fights. I mean, the buybacks helped a little bit, chases them out of the base, but they can't even get people low enough to score the kills. Even like Kaka TPing in, thinking like, who do I go on? Who do I go on? And just making, I don't know if he maybe didn't have vision, but just goes in and gets nothing out of it. They even get a sentry deward in the mid lane, so the obs they were trying to kill doesn't even get taken out. So buy more sentries.
Clinks, by the way, getting another kill. It's going to be Weaver with his freshly bought Hex.
Great
Finds
choice.
a huge pickup. Weaver does just have enough money for buyback. Well, I don't even think the way they initiate on the Void there was a good idea. Even if Oracle doesn't say Void, he has an Aegis, and that's your Finger plus Reaper. It is an Axe Reaper, but that's still 50-second cooldown in a team fight is still a cooldown.
Yeah, maybe they just felt like, get it out of the way, then disengage, let them take our tier 2, then we'll turtle high ground or something.
Yeah.
So it felt like it was almost so good, but I mean, there's still no BKB on Enigma. He's very close, though, sitting about 150 away, and once he picks that up, then at least he'll be able to sit far back, perhaps, jump in with BKB, get a black hole off maybe, but a lot of things to deal with, especially like Earthshaker Ags can initiate at any time. Chronosphere is scary. The Hex on Clinks, like, if he doesn't initiate himself, he will very likely be interrupted or chain stunned and killed before he even gets to Black Hole.
Be holding their side of the map as much as they can right now. It just feels like until they find that high impact BKB Black Hole, this game is just going to be very difficult for them. And another DD room for Paparazzi, who once again has the bottle to pick it up, and he's completed an Ag Scepter now. So one of the big issues that they were facing was these kind of cooldowns they had to play around, but 60 seconds kind of removes that to a large extent.
He's done a really good job with even time dilation too. I saw him catch the Weaver once. We had 3 things on cooldown there. It was just utterly pretty useless hero when he can't go Sakuchi every 6 seconds. So, man, that Void pick was so fantastic. It has really just made a lot of difference in this game. And it doesn't even feel like the same game as the one that happened 20 minutes ago. But Newbee will still try to scrape themselves out of this if they can. But it looks like Faith is going to be initiated on.
He's just trying to get some skeletons in mid, and he's going to pay for it with his life, it looks like. Clinks does get hexed up, though, from the high ground. And Newbee can play this. Line M says no. He goes flying in, gets an Echo Slam on 2, doesn't kill anyone off, but he sets up the Void to get a nice Chrono onto 2, including the key Necrophos kill. Enigma's dead. None of these heroes have buyback. I believe most of them bought back in the last fight. Necro's on cooldown, and they're just going to GG out. Newbee don't even lose their tier 2 mid, let alone any racks. I think they know they're about to lose at least 2 lanes, maybe even their throne, but that almost just feels like a bit, like you say, a bit of tilt that they just GG right out.
I mean, absolutely. Like this is one of those ones where you go back and you talk to your coach, and your coach is just frustrated because you had such a big advantage. And in that short moment, KP went for a play with the Boots of Travel. I think it was the right choice in the moment, but they hit the melee barracks instead of the range barracks. Then they got killed on the way out, and then it was just like death after death after death by really strong plays from Vici Gaming. And even if they did get the range barracks, it wouldn't have been everything, I guess.
Yep.
But
it was such a Newbee-dominated early game. That's when you're on the enemy high ground at 17 minutes.
So many things went right for them. And ultimately, I'm really disappointed because I'm sure that I did not get very many fantasy points having 3 out of 5 Newbee heroes this game. So,
and particularly this man here, KP, having a rough game, a lot of deaths to his name. Just was a struggle for him. Both games, in fact, were a struggle for him.
But it was one of those like kind of messy struggles that was still okay until like 20, 25 minutes, and then things just started going bad and bad and bad. It was like chrono after chrono. But still, it's very hard to play a hero like Enigma when you're up against a Faceless Void, because you're very likely to get caught, you're going to get disabled. You're not going to be able to channel full Black Hole. Just Paparazzi actually played excellent. I believe you put him on your fantasy today.
Yeah.
You made a really good choice, I think. I am sure that guy got a lot of points.
It was actually Ori who, I mean, kill death-wise, I think he didn't die all game. I had the scoreboard up. He's 13-0-7. Paparazzi 6-3-13, not bad, but that Ori fantasy players out there, rejoice. At least for this series, there's still a lot of Dota to be played, which is where I think, don't get too ahead of ourselves.
He owned both games big time. His laning stage as Necro was incredible, and this game is his Clinks. He played really solid, considering that he had a pretty big level disadvantage. So this is that moment basically where Newbee got a lot of tempo advantage. They scare the enemy team out of their base. They get a huge cooldown on Mirana. They're going to take the tier 2 tower here, actually back up from that. And then this was
this is where KP buys back with the Boots of Travel. He's like, oh, they have no Chrono, they have no Echo Slam because he used it on the creep. Let's go push high ground.
Yep, they get the Oracle ulti kill. Maybe he didn't buy BOTs. Maybe he was flying out here is what he did. It looked like he used a regular TP just there.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So chasing down old 11. I mean, he does get here eventually, and I believe he was really impactful for this Void kill. Getting Midnight Pulse, Malefice follow-up absolutely mattered. But getting this kill, he actually didn't have BOTs yet. So BOTs, that's one of those items that's very tempting to buy sometimes in little moments like that, but it can be a huge mistake.
At this point, it's a third of his net worth.
Yeah, and he was the big farmer too.
You don't want a third of your net worth on an item that just gives you movement speed when you can get boosts for 500 gold.
Yeah.
That global TP, unless you're a Tinker, is just not worth it as an item to get this early.
It looks so good too, killing the Faces Void, killing the Mirana, but both buying back, and instantly it was a done fight for Newbee, and they recognized that and went to retreat, but they still lost like 3 heroes here on the escape. Great double fissure catching him. They caught Faith as well. He ends up going down trying to buy time. I think SCC did blink, though. The other 2 did get TPs out, but very costly for them. If they get the range barracks and leave a little earlier, maybe it goes better. It's
And
one
then
of those
it was-
moments. He has a
yeah.
buckler. Maybe he lives.
And KP, yeah, getting caught out quite a bit here. Triple C on the Necro, I feel, definitely did his job. Mugi's Weaver, though, I don't
Yeah.
really feel like I can say anything bad about him, but the bad thing I can say is I just don't feel like I can say anything good about him. He didn't really impact the game that much.
I was definitely feeling that as well. Maybe that's part of the issue is that they were just kind of scared all the time about clinks, about chronosphere, about chain stuns, but it just felt like they didn't set any tempo. Maybe Vici game was just playing faster, and therefore they're always on the back foot. It's really hard sometimes like that when the enemy cores are just, or the enemy team is just constantly ganking you around the map. You're just trying to stabilize, and if you can't even get there, sometimes you don't have the mental willpower to like figure out, oh, how do we get aggressive?
Yep.
And then you're just always losing, always getting ganked.
And always like an item behind. Like the fact they kept feeling like they needed this Enigma BKB. Meanwhile, Vici Gaming had finished their BKBs, so it seemed like they were never in good shape. That was pretty funny. Unfortunately for Shaker, he then drops in the same place. He doesn't keep going forward when the chrono ends. I thought it was going to suddenly end up in the middle, but
yeah, that would have been sick. Same thing happens, I think, with Ball Lightning, Timber Chain, that kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, time stops all movement or something.
They do manage to get the Necro kill regardless. And Mugi, though, he did actually do the most hero damage of his whole team, so definitely not a completely dead game from him, but it's not really a game where you can just point at any single player. Newbee as a whole, strategically as a team, seemed to kind of collapse a bit, and just they look very shaky.
You know, I think Maelstrom was a big mistake here for Mugi this game. I think this was very much a Diffusal Blade game, now I think about it. Void is so hard countered by Mana Drain. It is like the solution against his hero. I think if you get a Diffusal Blade on him, it's going to be good against Earthshaker, it's going to be good against Mirana, it's going to be good against Faceless Void potentially if you get some hits on him. Obviously very pre-BKB, but he went Dragonlance, he went Maelstrom. I just think there's a little bit too much Maelstrom purchases right now, just a little bit too much. It's like we're seeing like 2 to 3 per team per game. And on a hero like Weaver, he obviously pushes better, he farms better, but maybe Diffusal was the solution. They needed like a way to kill heroes that wasn't like using all their ultimates and a Necro ulti. Because if they could like pick like 2 places that are poking at the same time, then it's going to give KP so much more space to actually find a black hole. But it was always like there's the focus of the fight was just seems so easy for Vici to deal with. Save the one guy that gets gone on, and then Chrono the Enigma, and we win the fight.
Yeah, and they had that save 2 games in a row. Shadow Demon game 1, Oracle game 2. But that does it. We're going to head to a break and come back because we have got a wonderful next series. EG versus OG. Bit of past history between these teams, or recent history with some of the roster shuffles and changes that have happened between them. We're going to have No-Tail versus Fly, matchup you would have never expected to see unless you go like 4 or 5 years back. But we're going to take a break and we'll bring you back with EG versus OG.